Hello, everyone, and welcome to Perilous Paths here on GDQ Hotfix. My name is Cutie, and today is a very special episode because this is our 1 year anniversary, birthday, whatever we want to call it. But we have been on the Hotfix for about a little over a year now. And so I got everyone a little something. I don't think my camera will focus on this, so I'm going to put it near my face. I'm going to check my camera. But this is a slice of pumpkin pie, Perilous Paths, pumpkin pie. We have a thing for the letter P around here. But if you would care to join me, everyone take a quick second to make a wish. Think about something important to you. Does not have to be speedrun related. Let me hold this up better. And then I will blow this out in 3, 2, 1. Thank you for participating to the extent that you did. Totally optional. But we are celebrating our 1 year, and so I'll have more shout-outs and different things at the end of the show, but I do want to thank you all for showing up consistently and often, because without all of you here, we would not be able to do this. We've had over 70 runs on the channel and over 120 people that have come through, so again, thank you so much to our community and all of our runners. Today, we are bringing back a couple of fan favorites, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But first, as a reminder, we are the first show here on Mondays. So make sure that you go to gamesdonequick.com/hotfix or gdq.gg/hotfix. Either one of them works. And check out our full schedule for the week. There is a lot of amazing platforming going on. We have definitely got a week-long theme of platformers. There's Donkey Kong, there's Banjo, there's Super Mario, there's Metroid, if you want to call it a platformer. We got all kinds of stuff. And we are doing the same thing here today. So if we take a look at the schedule, at what is coming up. First up, we've got Typoman Revised with Illegally Sam. He was on, I think, our 3rd episode, maybe our 4th, and is always a fan favorite. This is sort of like Limbo with a platformer with typing. I don't really know what's going to happen, but it's going to be good. Then we've got one of my all-time favorites, Cuphead, and we are doing the DLC and the base game. So we're doing all of it, and that is being run by Michael. And then last and certainly not least, we are having Jupiter Climb come back to do Castlevania Circle of the Moon. This category is called Nuclear Completionist. It is exactly what it sounds like. We are going to pretty much do the whole game, but we are going to do it with nuclear energy, and we're going to set everything on fire and make stuff explode. I don't know how it works. He'll explain it when we get there. But without further ado, let's go ahead and bring in Illegally Sam, who's doing Typoman Revised Any Percent. How you doing, Sam?
Hello. I'm doing all right. I'm ready to show off some Typoman. For anybody who doesn't know me, I am Illegally Sam. I speedrun a lot of indie games, indie platformers especially, and this is no exception. And as you heard, this game's kind of like Limbo, but with words. And if you're familiar with Limbo, that might just sound like there's like dialogue or anything. No, there's still no dialogue. We just have words. So let's go ahead and hop over to the beginning of the game. Thankfully, I don't have to wipe my save every time. I can just use the chapter select to start from the beginning of the game and just run through everything from there. So we'll get started as soon as I select the prologue here. So let's get going in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck, have fun.
Thank you. All right, so like I said, this is Typoman. Specifically, it's Typoman Revised because the original Typoman was on Wii U, and then when they released it on everything else, it became Typoman Revised.
And is it just a straight re-release, or did anything change? Any settings, any content? Did it get harder? Anything like that?
I have no idea. I didn't play this on Wii U. I didn't even own a Wii U, in fact. I've only played Typoman Revised.
Fair enough.
I'm going to assume that there are differences beyond the platform differences, but I am not privy to those. Instead, we've just got to construct our character here, because we started out as the letter O, and now we're piecing together our body. Because now we've collected the E. What do you think our character's going to spell out here once we're fully formed?
O and an E. I'm going to go with... No, there's no space for V. I was going to say love. I'm not sure, but also, spoilers.
All right. And then here I restart using the retry option in the menu real quick because that just skips like a whole cutscene because it puts me ahead of where I was because I didn't actually pick up my arm, which is the last letter, because the 4 letters are H, E, R, and O.
H, E, R, and O.
Yeah, that spells out.
That took me way too long to figure out. You know how you can't spell things in your head? Obviously, it spells hero.
Yes.
That took me way too long.
So yeah, like I said, this is Limbo but with words, because everything in the world is made up of letters, and we have to manipulate those letters to affect various things in the environment. Like that platform only raised once I moved the O next to an N to turn it on. And that's just going to continue throughout the rest of the game in a lot of different ways. There's a lot of really interesting and cool puzzles. But unfortunately, this is Doom. It's the first of the evil words, because basically all of the evil words form into various monsters that we have to run away from.
And so is there any actual typing in the game?
Well, I am playing this on Xbox Series X with a controller, so even if there was, I would not be using a keyboard. But there is typing adjacent gameplay, which we will see basically right now, because we have to craft new words.
Ooh.
All right, so basically what we have to do here is we have to spell down to lower that gate up ahead by rearranging all of those letters. And there we go.
This counts as typing.
It's close enough. But yeah, that is going to be a key mechanic throughout the game, the word scrambler, where the game's going to plop down a certain amount of letters, and we got to rearrange them to do various things. Sometimes I will do exactly what the game wants me to with them. Sometimes I very much will not. And speaking of doing things the game very much is not expecting you to do, this is the first major trick of the run. This is a T-warp. So basically, I take the letter T here, I throw it over there, I line myself up. It's a little too far to the left. Okay, let's try this again. There we go. I think this is good. Yep, there we go. And we warp. Yeah, for some reason, if you stand where that T respawns, it kind of glitches you out and just warps you directly to the top of whatever is loaded in. And once all those letters despawn, that tells you that you made it to the next checkpoint, and you can just retry using the menu and spawn back in. And we skip that whole puzzle.
You called it a T-warp. Can you do that with any letter that respawns, or only specifically that T?
I call it a T-warp just because we use the letter T. I have no idea if you could do it with other letters, because that specific method of skipping stuff is only useful in that one spot. But now we got to run from some doom. Open a few gates with a few levers.
There's more than one.
Yeah, there's in fact 3 of them. But thankfully, we have a friend here who is able to repel them while we hide in the corner. This game does have quite a few cutscenes that are not skipped. They're fun, so I don't mind it too much. But as we fall down here, we make our way into Chapter 1. Because that was all just the prologue. And things will only get more hectic from here, because Chapter 1 is, in my opinion, the hardest chapter in the entire run.
Yeah, I thought that might have just been me. It looks like we're having a little bit of a technical issue. We will take a very quick break to sort this out and get right back into the run as soon as we can. Hello everyone, we're back. We think we chased down all the little gremlins that were giving us problems, and we are ready to hop right back into the run. All you missed was a little bit of the end of that cutscene, but we're going to pick up right where we left off. So Sam, whenever you're ready, give us a count.
All right. Let's get started back up in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. All right, so we're just going to load straight up into the beginning of chapter 1 here. Chapter select comes in handy really nicely for this kind of thing. But right at the start here, there's already going to be a trick because we have to open up a gate, but we have to move the word open into place. And if I do this correctly, there we go. I can maintain my movement during this cutscene, and I can run all the way over to the right before it removes that movement after a couple seconds. Not the most impactful trick in the world, but it saves like 5 or 6 seconds, so I'm always really happy when I can actually get it, because the timing for that is a bit trickier than you'd think. Because you have to like stop pushing the word open a little bit before it gets into place, and then it like slides into place while you start moving.
Oh, I'm trying to read what that says.
That giant monster says gorge. It was gorged, but it lost the D, and now it's hungry again. Because it's just gorge. All right, but now we get to do our next letter-based trick, because this is an O clip, because we use the letter O to clip through this door.
Is it good?
There we go.
Baba is you shout out in chat.
Yes.
I don't know if you've ever played that, but
I have not, but I am familiar with the game as a concept, and its penchant for definitely correct grammar. All right, but as we can see, we gotta travel through all of this gas. If you stay in the gas for too long, it will kill you. So I do need to make sure I keep moving. But coming up is one of the harder tricks in the run. So I'm going to focus when I get up here. This is the span jump. I'm just going to focus for a second. There we go. And make sure I don't mess up the second part of it. There we go. Okay, so both of that jump onto the word spans there that wasn't moving is very precise. Like you can only make that jump by making use of all of your coyote frames. And by doing that, I save 30 seconds because there's an entire puzzle in that section that you're just not going to see now. Because as you saw, that whole area was full of gas. One of the words wasn't moving. You have to like turn things on and off so that the platform's in at the right spot and then the gas isn't in the way. Yeah, we don't have to worry about any of that. But one way to get through this poisonous gas is by making a gasp of air. So that is why I carried that letter P with me, because I would not be able to make it through this entire section without it. So that's just like, I think that's like my favorite example of how this game uses words and letters to make interesting puzzles, because it's a very simple puzzle, because you literally just put one letter next to another word that already exists. But, you know, it completely recontextualizes it. And that's how a lot of these puzzles work out. But this is hate. This is the next evil word. Very simple enemy. We just jump over it, and now we don't have to worry about it anymore. But we gotta rush through these crushers.
Oh, I got hate.
Yeah, thankfully, hate is not immune to being crushed. Otherwise, that section would be a lot more precarious. All right, but now we got another...
I'm waiting for like a super long word, like apprehension or something to pop up, something with like 12 letters.
Yeah, thankfully, I don't have to worry about moving around 12 letters at once. That would be a nightmare. Thankfully,
so it doesn't have like a full anagram puzzle of like 15 letters or something?
It does give you a lot of letters at one time in some circumstances, but specifically the solutions that I use are all the shortest ones.
Well, I mean, of course.
Yes. Because there are quite a few sections of this game where there's like multiple words that are completely valid ways to solve the puzzles. But, you know, a 4-letter word is faster to put into place than a 5-letter word. And also, something I did right there in that section was a double jump. I've done a couple of them in the prologue, and they're useful all throughout the run, but they're only like required in a couple sections. But basically, if you just mash the jump button while you're up against the wall, The game just gives you 2 jumps instead of just 1 for some reason. You get way more height. Right, but this is another difficult section because, as you can imagine, we have letters and we can platform off of them, so that means we can stack them on top of each other. But the game doesn't like that. It doesn't want you to stack letters on top of each other like this. So when they're like this, it's going to try and push me off, but thankfully I could just climb up them, do a double jump off the top letter, and then I can just put that T into place to drain the lake. I made that look so much easier than it actually is. That double jump is not one I get quickly most of the time.
Someone in chat said they're a fan of using 4-letter words too.
I mean, I don't blame them.
Leave it at that.
They're a lot easier to spell than anything longer than that. Right, but this section, the way you're intended to do this, you're supposed to move all the letters around, get them into the center to spell the word escape, and that opens up the exit. I'm not going to do that. So instead, I'm going to take this letter C, push it into this bottom left here, and then keep an eye on the top right-hand corner of the screen.
Okay.
Because that's where I'm supposed to come out, and that's where the C drops. But you'll notice, yeah, I'm not there anymore.
It does say PC though, but you're running on Xbox.
And there we go. We're done with that entire section. So yeah, basically by dropping the letter C down in that bottom left corner, and then jumping while you're going through the loading zone at the same time as it, you're able to jump out of bounds in the top right and run all the way until you hit the checkpoint for this section. And then you can just respawn and it skips the entire thing. And thankfully the game does have a visual cue because it like zooms in right when you get to this next checkpoint. And so you know, oh hey, I can respawn and not lose all of that time by having to redo it. But now we get introduced to the big bad, quite literally, because it is quite large.
I thought it was gonna have the word like big bad like written across its chest or something. When you
Honestly,
say quite literally,
that would be on brand, but no, I just mean literal in the sense that it is a very large being that is not good. I don't know if it has like an actual official name, but the game does like kind of allude to a name for it towards the end of the entire thing. So I'll let chat come up with a name for him before I tell him what I think the name is.
all right, chat. Give us a few names. I'll pick the best one, in my opinion, because I'm only one arbiter. But give us some names. We'll come up with a name. And then we'll make that the unofficial split for beating it at the end or something. I don't know. We did that earlier with the Triceratops in Metroid Prime. We named it Reggie. We can name this guy too.
All right, but now we're on to Chapter 2, and that, I mentioned how Chapter 1 is the shortest chapter, and it's also the hardest chapter in terms of like actual difficulty, tricks, and everything. Chapter 2 is the longest chapter. And it definitely does still have a few tricks, but it's a lot less. But there's still like a lot of platforming and word scrambling along the way. But the gimmick at the beginning of this chapter here is there's these floating needles in the background here. And if they hit me, they inject me with poison. And if I get hit a second time after being injected with poison, they kill me. So I need to make these good words from time to time. And they cleanse me when I make these words and step in their aura. So I'm making words like safe, good, faith, stuff like that. Those are all the good words. But there's also some tech here because when they stab you with the needle, it's supposed to stop you in place and you can't move until the animation's over. But if you jump right before they do that and they stab you in midair, you still maintain all your momentum, so it cancels out that animation.
So I saw a little bit earlier in that stage the word brave. If you move the B away and you just spell rave, does anything happen?
Yes, there are some words in this game that have like special little effects, and it would like start a little light show if you did rave. That is one of the words that has something. Right, so I need to tilt that rotor. Like one of the ones is like if you make the word sad, it gives you a little frowny face inside of the O face.
And so far in chat, it seems like the name autocorrect is winning.
Okay.
if we want to go with autocorrect, but we still got I don't know.
Autocorrect or first name auto, last name correct. Right, but now we have the next evil word. This is fear. And for making a character design out of the 4 letters that make up fear, I actually just really like how this one looks. I just think it looks really menacing for what it is. But fear, as you can see, has one of those needles on its tail, so it's going to chase me down and try to inject me with poison twice. And it will succeed once, because you cannot outrun him that well. But thankfully, we can make a little leap of faith here.
Chat's pointing out the name Otto should be O-T-T-O.
Yes, that is what I was alluding to.
Oh, okay.
They sound the same. I can only do so much without spelling it out in game.
Yeah, I was thinking, I think there's I can't remember if it's Tom Hanks, there's a movie called like A Man Named Otto. Like that's the only real time I think I can remember seeing that name, but yeah, no, that's pretty good. And then correct with a K.
Naturally, because every word is cool.
EDM artist.
Every word is cooler when you spell it with a K instead of a C.
Chat's on the ball today.
All right, but now we're into the next section of Chapter 2. I call that the first half of Chapter 2, even though it's only like a quarter of it by length, because the rest of Chapter 2 has a very different vibe, because it's a lot more factory, but everything's kind of on fire. We're going to make our way to an interesting little word scrambler section, because we have to spawn the letters in using these available letters. And there's a whole puzzle here that I am hopefully going to skip on my first try. Oh, no, okay. Jumped a little too... it's hard for me to tell whether I jump a little early or late, but it was not the correct timing. Because, yeah, what basically... These red lasers destroy letters when they go through them, and the way you're supposed to do this is you're supposed to turn off the laser. Yeah, I think I was a little early that time. You're supposed to turn off the laser and then raise the platform up. But if you jump off of a letter while this platform is raising up with just the right timing, you can just make it straight up to that next platform without having to actually do the puzzle. There we go. Okay. Yeah, that jump is genuinely not that hard. I'm just bad at it.
I mean,
also,
we don't
funny
have
little
time to turn off lasers here. We just go through lasers.
Also, I like how the immortal falls apart and becomes I'm mortal. Like, there's a lot of cool environmental word stuff going on. Also, it's time for some more O clips, because there's 2 more doors here that I can clip through. Oops. I did not need to pull that lever. I did that by accident, but that's fine. Doesn't matter. All right, so got the first... Okay, that was actually really good. Those doors are very finicky to clip through. And the reason why I clipped through is there's like a puzzle there where you have to move that gun right there all the way over to the right, and then you have to pull that lever to load it up with O's, and then move it again so that it moves onto the other side of that platform. But by clipping through both of those doors, it's just way faster, even though it's way finickier. If I got really unlucky, I would have clipped directly into the ceiling above those doors and would have had to respawn. Thankfully, that did not happen. All right, but now we have to fight against propaganda.
I was wondering where lie came in.
Yes, that is also the last evil word. That is lie. Lie has some actually really interesting gameplay mechanics, but we will be seeing those after the fight against propaganda. We have to plug up all 3 of the horns here using the gun that we definitely loaded up correctly and did everything we were supposed to. All right, there we go. And I do need to be a little careful because there's like a little block thing that pops out here, and if I am in the wrong spot, that block will go on top of my head and then clip me out of bounds and I have to redo the entire fight. So I always play a little safe there. But the way lies work in this game, see that we have this word open right here, but we need to close this platform so we can walk across it. The way lies work is that if they touch a complete word, it turns it into the antonym. And so it turns open into close. And that is going to be a very important mechanic from here on out, because there's going to be a lot of sections where it's not even necessarily that we don't have the word that we need, it's that we don't have the letters that we need. So we have to make an antonym so that we can get a letter and then use it to make a completely separate word. Or other times we just turn off into on. That is also a thing that we do. Yeah, the whole. Go ahead.
I just Googled and it says that this game is available in a bunch of different other languages, and I'm curious if that's just in terms of like controls and menuing, or if it actually changes all the gameplay.
I'm pretty sure it's just in the menuing because the world record for this game is, I think, in Japanese. I forget exactly what language, and it was just all of the gameplay is still using Roman.
I mean,
characters.
I can't blame them for that. That would be a lot of work.
All right, but now we have to turn loss into gain, and then turn gain into rain. Yeah, some of these sections kind of sound like a Dr. Seuss novel if you talk about them the way they're presented. All right, but yeah, we needed that rain to put out that fire. Just keep moving. Now, over all of these piles of discarded letters.
So do we know lore-wise what's happening, like why there's a letter factory and all that stuff, or no?
No.
Okay.
Not really.
That's fair enough.
Like I said at the beginning of the run, despite being a game full of letters, there is not actually any dialogue or anything, so it's all up to interpretation, except for the stuff that is specifically spelled out for you. All right, so I don't actually want to make the word lie just yet because it's faster for me to push these letters up than to actually have the lie walk all the way over here. Because we gotta turn this evil into good. And then we gotta turn the good into a door.
A good door.
Yes. Yeah, like I said, the whole lie mechanic is genuinely like a really cool mechanic because you have to. Obviously, you don't have the letters to make door there until you turn evil into good using the antonyms. All right, time for another leap of faith, but it's actually a breach of faith. Right, as we fall into a crusher here. So, thankfully, I could just make the word solid, and solid is solid, so these crushers can't destroy it. I do actually have to be a little careful though, because if I get caught in between two of the letters when the crusher is closing on the word solid, I will die even though solid stops the crusher. And that has happened to me in runs before. Very unfortunate. All right. As we move past these spitting flames here. Got hate chasing after us, but thankfully we can use the evil against itself because we can turn hate into love.
There is love from the beginning. I knew love was coming at some point.
But specifically, we don't care about love, we just care about the letter O. So we can turn this elevator on. Right, thankfully, all of the pretty difficult tricks in this chapter are done, but there's still a good amount of platforming before we reach the end here. Also, I like this bridge right here, because all of the other robust bridges turned into rust, but that one just turns into bust. All right, but we come up to this cliff. It's a pretty tall cliff. We don't want to just jump off willy-nilly. Got to be careful. There's a paper airplane flying through the air as well. Because naturally.
But the paper is so much smaller than the letters.
I mean, you don't know how well it folded up, but our good friend Fear here has returned with a vengeance. But thankfully, we could just dodge the needle at the last second. But we're not out of the woods yet, because now we got to run away from Doom while we're poisoned. Yeah, thankfully the poison doesn't actually have any gameplay effects besides giving this weird little filter over the screen. And thankfully, the game does give us a good word here to clear that away in just a moment. And it's one of the less obvious ones because it's firm. That is definitely not as obviously good as stuff like faith or love. But it works the same.
It's interesting, that would be what cures poison. It's not like antidote or something.
Yeah, it's basically any of the words that gives you that good aura effect. But now we have to run away from this giant thing of fire. I do need to be a little careful because some of these jumps are deceptively easy to mess up. This is quite a daring escape. All right. Our friend the paper airplane catches on fire at the end there.
Oh.
As everything turns to ash. And we come up on the end of chapter 2 here with this cutscene. As our hero gets mashed and smashed a little bit. That's the fun. One of the things I really like about the cutscenes is because it's not just stuff happens. It's stuff happens using letters that spell out exactly what's going on in the process. And I just think that's a very nice way of showing it.
I was gonna say, I see chasm coming.
Don't worry about that. Nothing bad will happen, I'm sure. As it turns into chaos.
Oh.
And our good friend Otto here.
So many plot
shows
twists
his
with
face.
the words. Otto.
Yeah, autocorrect. He really wants us to hear some German EDM.
I really hope this becomes like run canon. Like this is now the official name and split and story of this going on.
I mean, until I get proven otherwise. But unfortunately, Otto here destroys our friend who was protecting us this whole time. As we fall into that totally innocuous chasm. But thankfully, before our friend was destroyed, we get one little last bit of help from them as it chases us down while we fall. And it saves us.
Oh. With wings.
Yeah. We barely avert disaster in the process. Right, this is one of those sections where I mentioned it's like there's a few different ways you could handle these, but the fastest way to do it is just make the 4-letter word rise. But there's multiple words that could solve pretty much all of these puzzles. So if you were to play this game casually and you're not sure exactly what to do, and you're not sure if something sounds correct, you could just try it. There's like a 40% chance it'll probably work, as long as it kind of makes sense. But we're into chapter 3. Chapter 3 definitely has a very different vibe from the other 2 chapters. Because now we're in this like laboratory, factory kind of thing. It's very, sterile, very constructed in very like unnatural ways.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting a game called Typoman to have an emphasis on like medical equipment, like the syringes and the poison, and now the sterile factory. Kind of interesting that they went that route.
I mean, that's the kind of cool thing about this game is with this kind of concept, you could literally go wherever you want, and the devs just went the way they did with it. All right, so I'm going to make a definitely a real word. The reason I use specifically this many letters to spell out the word solid is because it makes it faster to push everything into place. Because by putting those 5 letters in place, it teleports over there, stops those crushers from crushing the word, and the weight from the letters makes this platform move down. And I don't have to wait for the platform to come all the way down because I can use a double jump to get up slightly faster.
Oh, chat, that pun is bad. That pun is bad.
I'm concerned.
So somebody said they're hypodermic needles.
I like that. That's actually pretty good.
That's rough.
That's pretty good.
I don't know. I think I'm on the other side of that one. I will give you that it's creative. I will give you that.
All right.
Keep them coming, by the way. We love bad puns here. Keep them coming.
This is a game centered around words. I'd be disappointed if people didn't have puns. Right, but now I need to make a 4-letter good word. I just make love because it's the easiest one, and put them in place. This section's on a cycle, so I just need to get them in place before the next thing absorbs them.
I apologize for nothing. I love you, chat. You're doing great today. Never stop.
You might have noticed it earlier, but this section also has turrets. And the way to get, there's 2 different ways to get around the turrets, and the faster one is to make a word that makes it so the turret can't target you. In this case, I use evade. You can also use words that make a shield, like something like cover, for example. And that'll make it so the turret will still target you, but the bullets can't hit you, thankfully. So it's obviously faster to make it so that the gun just doesn't fire in the first place. All right, we got to make it through all this electricity, some platforming. And we'll come to the next section, which has some more respawn shenanigans. Because, as you've seen numerous times, basically everywhere in the run, if the game registers that you've made it to the next checkpoint, you can immediately just die or retry, depending on what kind of checkpoint it is, to respawn at the next section. So if I just jump off this platform halfway up, I just respawn up top. And it saves having to sit through the rest of those cycles. Right, and then I can do a little small skip here. By jumping into this word scrambler, I can actually open it up during this cutscene and spell out my next word, which is hide in this case instead of bait. But this next section is a part where the correct way to do it is you're supposed to spell the word sort, and it'll sort these platforms into the correct order so you can make it to the next section. Instead of... Oh, I jumped a tiny bit too late. That's unfortunate. Yeah, because if you hit a wall while in midair, it kind of just eats all your momentum, so I didn't make it onto the last platform. That's unfortunate, but that's okay. I just gotta spell the word hide a second time. Without a cutscene this time. Yeah, you are very much not supposed to be able to traverse these platforms as is, but I do it anyway.
It feels like a slightly missed opportunity that it doesn't do, what are they called, like homophones or something, where the word sounds the same. So like hide could have also like spawned an animal hide that you could have hit under or something like that.
Oh yeah, no, unfortunately, probably fortunately for the people who made this game, all the words only have one definition. All right, but this section is a little tricky. I need to just make sure I get all the letters out and do it fast enough. It'll be more clear what I'm doing as it continues. But I'm just going to focus and make sure I get them all out in time. There we go. So yeah, by spawning the lie on the right side of that platform, or that wall I mean, it just makes it so that it runs into the hate slightly faster. And then I have life on the left there to protect me from the fear. And then I spawned in the exact letters that I did, because by using the lie on the hate to spell out love, I can spawn a second lie and the word off to turn it into on, to raise up this door, or lower the door.
Can you
So
accidentally spawn enemies? Because I saw it was vile for a second.
You can spawn enemies, but not all evil words have an enemy associated with them. So all of the evil words you see throughout the game are the only ones that spawn monsters. All right, so this is another section where I just spawn a bunch of letters in a specific order to spell out multiple words at the same time. Because I want to spell split, and I want to spell up, and then I want to spell tilt. And there we go. Because we need to do split to open up those doors. We had to do up to raise this platform at the end, and then tilt to have the rotor rotate. All right, that is
starting to make my brain hurt just a little bit.
Oh yeah, no, if playing this game casually, it will genuinely take you a while to figure out some of these puzzles. Because you have to figure out what letters you have access to, what words might solve the thing that you're staring down, and then go from there. But that's why I like this game, is because it's all of these puzzles have multiple ways of solving them. And also, I mentioned the game kind of gives you a name for the bad guy. It has Fenrir, but with a bunch of question marks. So it's, even the game's not too sure. So clearly, the game didn't know his real name is Otto. Which is why I wasn't sure.
Fenrir is the code name.
It's his middle name. Otto Fenrir, correct.
I'm here for it. I like that.
All right, but now we just got to do some platforming as we make our way to the final boss, because we are almost done already. And the final boss does still have some tech going on, because I have to start the final boss fight by making the word on in the bottom left corner. But what I'm going to try to do is, instead of just pushing the O into place, I'm going to pick it up, jump up here. I think that's good. I might be a little too far to the left, but put it in place. Okay, I was a little too far to the left. Put it down so that it rolls into place like a couple seconds after I put it down. I think that's good. Jump up here. Oh, no, I was a little too far to the left again. It's really finicky getting this into the right spot. No, okay. I think I might be a little too far to the right now. It's tricky to get this in the right spot. There we go. I think that's good. Yep, there we go. All right, so by doing that and doing it so that I can get up to this terminal before the cutscene starts, is I can interact with the terminal during the cutscene and spawn a good word. So the way this boss fight works is you will just start doing a whole bunch of attacks. I have to dodge all of the attacks, then after enough attacks happen, the terminal will turn on, and then I have to spawn in a 4-letter good word, which will damage the boss. But since I interacted with the terminal before the fight even started, I already have a good word in place, so as soon as this opening cutscene ends, I will immediately do damage to the boss and skip the entire first phase.
I do like
First,
that he actually auto-corrected your word there. You had life, and he was like, no, it's not life, it's evil.
Evil.
So the name fits.
Yeah. But yeah, now that I have that first word there, I'm just going to be able to skip multiple attacks at the beginning here and go straight to phase 2. All right. There we go. And in between every single phase, the fastest way to deal with this boss is by running off the side of the map and killing yourself. Because by doing that, by respawning, it respawns you at a specific point in the cycle. And it skips a whole bunch of animations that happen in between each phase. And instead just starts you immediately on the next attack cycle instead. I think I can spell out. I will go with hope. So yeah, he randomizes the terminal at the left here every time, so it has different letters. And so part of doing this fight fast is figuring out... Oh, I jumped a little too early. That's unfortunate. All right, well, I gotta redo phase 2 because I jumped like half a second too early by accident. Not a big deal. But that means he will randomize the terminal again. I have to find a new word. Yeah, part of doing this fight quickly is finding a word inside of the scramble of letters for each phase as quickly as possible. I can do good. Yeah, I think I'll just go good.
It is nice you get like 30 seconds though during all the animations to kind of look at the board.
Yeah, no, you do have time to figure it out, thankfully, but some of the boards are a little tricky to figure out, unfortunately.
Oh, I've done Wordle. I know how hard it is, for sure.
All right, and then he'll take damage, walk off the side of the map, and you'll see it's like puts down the letters to respawn or like recharge the boss, but I just completely skipped that animation. And it saves some time. All right, but now it's time for phase 3. Thankfully, there's only 3 phases. And time will be coming up after I lose control after the last hit. I will call that out in not too long. I can do safe. I think that's probably my best word here. Or I could, no, affirm is actually slightly faster than safe. I will go with firm. All right, and I put it down, and time will be coming up in just a few seconds. And time.
That was a lot of fun. That was very interesting. I don't think we've had anything like that on the show. That was really cool.
I mean, that's part of why I really like this game, is because there's not a lot of games like it. At the very least, I haven't seen any games like it, where I'm sure there are games out there that have this kind of mechanic, but the idea of like manipulating words in the environment to solve puzzles and stuff like that in a puzzle platformer setting is genuinely like one of the coolest game concepts that I have played, which is why I wanted to learn the speedrun in the first place, is because I just think this game is really cool.
Yeah, a lot of people in chat have been saying like how it's a really cool, interesting gimmick with a good, art style and everything. And I've seen multiple people say they might pick up the speedrun, so you might have more competition coming your way. I don't know. It might be more of this in your future.
I welcome it, because not many people run this game. I think when I picked up this game earlier in the year, I think the last time anybody had done a run was like years ago.
Okay. Well, now is while we're watching the cutscene or the credits or whatever's going to come in, now's a great time to tell the wonderful people where they can find out more about you. If you have stream, Discord, anything you want to promote, shout outs, all that fun stuff, now's the time.
Sure. Yeah, if people want to see more of me and whatever game I may be running at any given time, you can find me over at twitch.tv/illegallysam. I run a lot of indie games and a lot of other weird random games. This is an example. I run other indie platformers. I run some indie not platformers. I run a lot of random things that you may not have heard of. So if that sounds interesting to you, feel free to check me out. If anybody does actually want to pick up the speedrun, feel free to reach out to me. I had to figure out a lot of stuff in this game on my own without any help. So, reach out to me if you actually are interested in picking up the speedrun on whatever platform you may find me on, because I'm more than happy to help anybody learn this game if they wanted to.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show yet again. I think you might have the record now for 3 times. Actually, Jupiter's going to tie you with that a little bit later. But you are always welcome here. You're always a pleasure to have on. Thank you so much for showcasing that. We are going to take a quick break as we set up for Cuphead, any % DLC plus base game. And while we are on break, if you're looking to get more involved with the GDQ community, you can always join the official Games Done Quick Discord and add the hotfix role to stay in the loop on upcoming events, chat with staff, and more. So use !Discord in chat. I'll throw that in there to find out a link and to learn more about that. And if you want to appear on GDQ Hotfix, if this looks fun and you want to do this is how I got started, was appearing on Hotfix. We are accepting submissions for the upcoming winter season. So if you got a run or you have a friend who has a run that you'd love to showcase on the channel, send it our way at gdq.gg/submit/hotfix, or go to the Hotfix website, find the link. It's all in there. You never know where those things may lead, but we will be right back in just a few minutes with Cuphead, Michael, and Jason2890. It's going to be a banger. Stay tuned. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Perilous Paths here on GDQ Hotfix. We are in the middle of our 1-year celebration of Perilous Paths being on Hotfix, and so we are bringing you some of the best games that I could come up with. Today, we are going to do Cuphead, any % DLC plus base game with Michael and Jason2890. But before we get to that, I just want to let everyone know that if you want to catch up on past Hotfix shows, special events, and GDQ marathons, and we just had an incredible event over the weekend, you can do so over at youtube.com/gamesdonequick. And if you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and turn on notifications. But with that, let's go ahead and get into some Cuphead. I saw some props on camera and different things earlier, so let's turn it over. Michael and Jason, how you two doing?
All right. Hello. My name is Michael. I'm a longtime runner of Cuphead, and today I'll be running DLC plus base, any %, where I'll beat the game's 25 main bosses, 19 in the base game, 6 in the DLC. It is a long category, filled with a bunch of precise tricks and glitches. And to explain all those, we have the legendary Cuphead runner, Jason2890.
Hey everyone, Jason here. Excited to be here, commentating for an exciting run tonight. So let's get it going, Michael.
All right. Well, without further ado, I think it's a good day for a slow battle. Okay. 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck, have fun.
Thank you.
All right, so we are kicking off this category. As you can see, Michael chose Mugman, and in case you're wondering, there is no practical difference between Mugman and Cuphead. It's purely just a visual sprite difference. Both characters play identically. But we do plan on getting a third character, Miss Chalice, pretty soon into the run. So if you haven't seen the DLC for this run, don't go far, because we do the DLC pretty early to get Miss Chalice to go through the base game. And I'm going to explain the differences between Miss Chalice and Mugman later in a little bit. But for now, Michael is going into the first and only run and gun of this run, called Forest Follies. Run and guns are regular platform levels. For those of you less familiar with Cuphead, Cuphead's primarily a boss rush game. There are 6 run and gun levels where you can go through like this and get coins and use the coins to go to the shop and buy weapons, items, charms, all that to help you through the game. So we are doing this as part of the route just to get enough coins, because Michael will eventually buy the charge and spread weapons. He did a really precise trick to go through the acorn machine there called Ninja Clip, where you can clip through it without having to defeat it, and that saves a few seconds. And he had a really, really nice run through that level right there. Fantastic time. Nice job, Michael. And moving on past this, we are going to take a trip to the shop just to buy Spreadshot. Now, Spreadshot is a very close range weapon. It's also the highest DPS weapon in the game. So the trade-off, obviously, of it being the highest DPS weapon, you have to be extremely close to bosses to use it, so it is very dangerous. And we're going to be pairing that with the Charge Shot, which we'll get later in the DLC aisle from a different shop. And the Charge Shot's pretty versatile in that it'll allow you to kind of pace your shots, shoot them from all over the map, and hit bosses from a distance, so that comes in handy. You could use that while you're further away and then switch to spread when you're a little bit closer. Now, going next, we have Mausoleum 1, which typically you don't do the Mausoleum in speedruns, but this is a requirement to unlock the DLC aisle, and as I mentioned before, we are going to the DLC aisle very early in the run right after this to unlock Miss Chalice. And obviously, we need to do the DLC as part of this category. It is DLC plus base game any percent, so I'm going to go through all those bosses. This level is effectively an auto-scroller. You just have to parry these pink ghosts before they get to that urn in the middle, and if they get to the middle, then you lose and have to restart. But Michael here, as seasoned pro, is not going to let them get anywhere close, so should be fine there. Now, I did mention before, there is a difference between Mugman and Miss Chalice, and the primary difference, besides visually, Miss Chalice looking different, is that Miss Chalice is a lot more agile than Mugman and Cuphead. Miss Chalice gets a double jump. Her typical jump's a little bit shorter, but she's able to double jump, which gives you a little more flexibility during these battles. And she also starts with 4 HP as opposed to 3 HP, which from a casual perspective is incredibly helpful because you have more survivability. But from a speedrunner perspective, more HP means more damage boost. And that's definitely something you're going to want for these bosses, because a lot of these bosses going up and close and, you know, doing a precise amount of damage in a small amount of time, you need as many damage boosts as possible to defeat these bosses optimally. So we unlock this boat, which brings us over to the DLC aisle. We meet Chef Saul Baker and then immediately exit his shop. He does give us an item called the Astral Cookie, which allows us to transform into Miss Chalice, which you'll see Michael equip right there. He does the quick Miss Chalice tutorial here to snag 1 extra coin. And that was very, very brief. Then we're going to go over here and talk to another NPC, get 3 more coins, and then take our second shop trip here. The route has you getting exactly 12 coins. Michael spent 4 before and he has 8 left over, so he needs to buy 2 more items, 1 to unlock charge and then buy charge itself. So I'm going to buy here. And as you can see, Michael did a quick trick there called Shop Glitch, which allows you to buy an item at the same frame that you exit the shop, and that just saves a couple seconds there. Moving on, we have the first boss of the DLC, Glumstone, right here. Michael is going to stay very close to Glumstone in phase 1 here, just dodge all these projectiles, get all these shots in. You'll see some of Miss Chalice's double jump coming in handy to dodge these attacks, and finish that off very smoothly, no damage taken. Moving on to second phase, we have these 2 puppets here. Both of them share the same HP, so it doesn't matter which one you attack here. Michael's just concentrating all of his damage to the one on the left, and there we go. Now, final phase here has 2 different strats. For some of you that may have seen some speedrunning before, there's actually a glitch here that allows you to roll in the air and attack infinitely. Michael's purposely going to not do that glitch because you do slightly more damage being able to jump and do those EX attacks on the boss's hitbox right whenever you have those cards there. Whenever you do the other glitch, you're not able to do that. So Michael's able to finish that boss incredibly quickly in that final phase, getting a fantastic time of 49. Nice job there.
Thank you.
And one thing I love about this DLC is that they added a lot of really creative mechanics to all these bosses. Not only are these bosses, in my opinion, much harder than the base game bosses, but they all just seem to have these unique aspects to them. Coming up is Mortimer Freeze, one of my personal favorites. This whole fight is just a really cool progression. This first phase, he's going back and forth here. Michael's going to be shooting some charge shots here. There's a really cool optimization we do in between the first and second phase transition here. Right over here, you'll see Michael take an intentional damage boost and an intentional second damage boost in order to hit an overlapping hitbox there with a charge shot to do double damage. And that's just part of the little strategies that speedrunners do to make this go as quickly as possible. Second phase is done incredibly quickly. And then we go into this little platforming section for final phase, which is, I think, a really super cool part of the fight here. Michael read the pattern on which direction Mortimer was going to go, which helped. And wow, yeah, you finished him right there before you even switch sides. Nice job. Moving on next, this other fight. I don't want to keep talking about these final phases before we get there, but there's a lot of stuff to mention, so I guess I'll bring it up ahead of time. But the final phase in this upcoming fight has the screen actually turn to the side and potentially upside down if it takes long enough. But we're not going to get to see that part. Michael's going to finish them off before we get to that, of course. But yeah, this is just another really cool fight where you have to, stay on this airplane to avoid taking fall damage while you're dodging all these projectiles and doing damage to this boss. You'll see Michael handling this like a champ, even taking some intentional damage boosts just to shoot spread EX. Now, one thing we didn't really talk about much is the EX attacks. Whenever you do damage, you get cards which are shown on the bottom left. And every weapon has an EX attack, which is basically a special attack you do that costs one card. And the spread weapon's EX does more damage than the charge. So you'll see opportunities where Michael will try to use that if possible. But the only problem with that is you have to be on top of the boss's hitbox in order to actually do that. Wow, Michael finished that final phase so quickly. Nice job. But yeah, typically you'll see in situations where we damage boost, a lot of spread EXs are being shot because they do slightly more damage than the charge EX. So you want to maximize your iframes by using those to shoot spread EXs whenever possible. Now moving on, we have the first of, I believe, 6 plane fights, and the only one of the DLC aisle. Michael's actually going to be doing most of these, actually, I think 3 with Miss Chalice and 3 with Mugman. Just to talk about some of the difference here, Miss Chalice does slightly more damage with her primary weapon on these plane levels, but it is shorter range. It kind of goes out in like 3 bullets, kind of like the spread shot a little bit. Yeah, it does slightly more damage, but the EXs are not quite as versatile as Mugman's. I'll explain the difference between the EX attacks a little bit later whenever we're doing the second plane level. But yeah, this fight always makes me laugh because you'll see more you fight this boss, the more processed she becomes. Esther Winchester goes from being a cow, a Western cow shooting all these bullets and stuff to, you'll see right here, she's transforming into a bunch of sausages. And then a little bit after this phase, you'll see Michael remaining very close to this boss to do maximum damage here, but now she's just inside of a can of sausages. So you feel a little bit bad for this boss for what we're putting her through, but hey, it's part of the game. We got to go through. We got to collect all the ingredients for Chef Saltbaker, which, by the way, that is the plot for the DLC. We kind of glazed over that whenever Michael quickly exited Chef Saltbaker's shop before, but he wants us to gather these ingredients to make the Wonder Tart, and all of these bosses carry an ingredient. So you'll see a lot of these, after each boss, it'll show us what ingredient we got. Yeah, we received the desert limes. So now we're moving on to Moonshine Mob. And this is a boss that's comprised of a few separate bosses. You fight a different one in each phase. The first, you have this little spider that goes back and forth, summons these bombs. There's many different patterns that you can see here. One small optimization you'll see Michael did there is that these little bombs that he summons, they explode when you go over them, and you could actually use them to do additional damage to the boss. It doesn't do that much extra damage, but every little bit counts. So you'll see he exploded 2 of those to get some extra damage in. He's going to finish off the second phase very quickly. He's doing a specific amount of over damage to try to get a skip here in the final phase. We'll let this part speak for itself. We'll see if he gets it.
Nice.
All right, fantastic. That trick we did there. I'll explain it briefly. It's called snail skip. Typically, that knockout is a fake knockout, and there's actually another phase past that. But Michael was able to do so much damage by setting up a precise amount of damage before that, and there's a specific attack that he waited for where the tongue comes out of the anteater's mouth, and then there's an overlapping hitbox there where you can do double damage with your charge shot in a precise spot, and he set up the damage in a way where that was able to finish the fight without going to the final phase, which saved a little bit of time in phase transition. Now, as you can see, we're returning to Chef Saltbaker to bring in the ingredients, but lo and behold, in a Disney-esque twist, Chef Saltbaker is actually a villain here, kidnapped Mugman while we were off doing these quests, and now he wants to take our souls. Something like that. I can't remember the exact plot twist, but you see here, this is the first of, I guess Snail Skip was really the first really tough major trick here. But there's another trick that we're going to try to attempt here. It's not looking great. We'll see. Unfortunately, there's a very precise trick you can do to skip final phase in this, but it requires a very specific damage setup, and a lot of things have to be accounted for in first phase and second phase in order to do that. I believe Michael's just going to play the fight normally from this point on. It's a very, very tricky glitch to do. So, okay. Michael set up a lot of over damage in this phase, so this third phase is going to go by incredibly quickly. And then this final phase is pretty cool. We have to go fight the heart here, and there's a lot of platforming. The walls can hurt you here. But Michael did a lot of damage. Okay. That was a little dicey there. Yeah. But clean kill, nice job. And that already does it for the DLC. But yeah, for those of you that have seen regular Cuphead speedruns, now you're going to get to see a regular Cuphead speedrun with Miss Chalice. And Miss Chalice adds like another dimension to it because you'll see quite a few different strategies, a little bit more damage boosting, because like we mentioned before, Miss Chalice is a little more versatile than Cuphead and Mugman. She has more HP, so we'll get to see some pretty interesting strats coming up. So yes, Michael is returning back to the base game, and it's going to feel like a big downgrade going to these Isle 1 bosses after seeing those DLC bosses, but hey, you got to do what you got to do. One cool thing that they added in the most recent update for the game, whenever the DLC came out, is secret phases on a few bosses. There are 3 bosses that have secret phases, and one is the root pack right here. And Michael's going to be doing all 3 secret phases for this route. So you'll see with this onion, typically you have to fight him, he starts crying, but apparently if you just don't shoot him at all, Michael's going to shoot him a little bit at the end after the game's already recognized that you've triggered the secret phase. But the onion just goes away happily if you don't shoot it for long enough. And now you have to play the final phase with the addition of this radish on the bottom that just causes a little bit of problems there. You got to put on a show for the audience, Michael. Michael cutting it close for the fun of it. But yeah, that secret phase saves a little bit of time with this weapon combination because you don't end up having to fight the onion. It just goes away after a little bit of time. So you get to go to final phase a little bit sooner. One thing we didn't mention is that this specific weapon combo in this category, there's actually 2 different routes. And Michael's opting to go for the charge spread route instead of the lobber spread route. I'm not going to give you all the differences, but the main difference is that charge spread takes slightly longer to get. You have to go to one additional shop. You need one more shop trip in order to get it. So it takes you slightly longer, but the weapon does have more consistency compared to lobber spread on a lot of these bosses, and there are quite a few fights where you can have slightly faster times with this weapon combo as well. So it's basically a matter of preference. Michael did a trick right there called Super Skip. Basically, if you do enough damage to push this boss to the final phase, when they're still in the middle of a first phase attack, they transform right into the final phase from the first phase, which saves you a little bit of time there and skipping second phase. Now, one of the most underrated tricks of this run, we'll see if Michael gets it, is getting a 1 cycle on the slot machine. The damage is very, very tight in order to finish
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Congrats, Michael.
That was great.
I believe Michael didn't even hit that on his PV, so that's fantastic that he's able to hit it here in a run for you guys. But yeah, you have just enough time if you hit all of your shots or almost all of your shots to finish off the slot machine before it closes. And if it does close, you have to wait for another cycle of it shooting some more coins before you're able to parry it open again. It ends up losing you roughly 6 or 7 seconds. So Michael's able to save that time there, which is great. Coming up, we have Goopy Legrand. This is just a typical RPG blue slime. Just hops around, doesn't really do too much. Might give you a little bit of a punch every now and then. But yeah, Michael's going to just maintain constant damage. Very small optimization there. There is a way. There's like a brief sprite swap there between phases where you're able to get a little bit of extra damage by doing your EX attack at a specific time. Michael's able to make full use of that. And then you'll see there a lot of damage boosting at the end to shoot those spread EXs that we mentioned, do some extra damage, and then he's able to take out Goopy in only 32 seconds. One of the fastest fights of the run. Maybe the fastest, now that I think about it.
Sally is actually faster.
Sally, yeah, I guess, well, could be faster than that. Yeah. That's true. Sally's incredibly fast, which we'll get into that later, but there's a glitch there that's one of the major tricks of the run that we'll explain a little bit as it gets closer. Now, moving on, we have the first plane fight of the base game. You'll see Michael did a quick menu there to unequip Chalice. Now, we mentioned before, Chalice has a slightly stronger plane weapon, but the big plus of playing as Mugman or Cuphead on this boss in particular is this damage boost that Michael takes right here. He's able to shoot an EX attack that basically goes at the same speed of Hilda as she's going from left to right there. So you get a lot of damage for the longer that EX missile ticks over the boss, the more damage you do. And Miss Chalice, her EX attack does not have that same ability, that same way to basically do an uncapped amount of damage there. So that is the main reason why Mugman or Cuphead are preferred on this. Wow, you got the transformation skip there. Nice.
Whoops.
Yeah, you'll see because of those 2 damage boosts we take here, this becomes a very, very tricky fight because you intentionally go down to 1 HP, taking those 2 damage boosts to shoot those incredible missile EXs to do massive damage. And in this final phase here, Michael's going to try to do some very specific EX attacks, EX missiles. Okay, a little bit there. You'll notice some of these missiles stayed a little bit longer on top of Hilda. That's because they were kind of stuck between her hitbox and the UFO hitbox, right as they were going up there. And the longer they get stuck on that UFO, the more damage it's doing to Hilda. So just another little optimization that Michael did there to speed things up. And also on the results screen there, you may have noticed the stars appeared simultaneously. That is a frame-perfect trick that saves about a second on each result screen that you're able to get that at. It's incredibly hard to time. It's like I said, frame perfect. There's not really a good visual or audio cue for it. A lot of people just mash to get it. But whenever you get it, that extra time save definitely helps. This is probably one of the most iconic bosses of Cuphead. You may remember it from some internet memes I've seen with this template. But it's also got a very, very nice musical track. One of my favorites in the game for sure. But you'll notice Michael just pacing a lot of his charge shots here and then also optimizing it with some spread shots in between the bounces. Doing a pretty good job of dodging most of Cagney's attacks here. And then this is the final phase. Michael's going to go in and do some additional spread damage. Calculated, of course.
Yeah.
Michael's able to know just when to damage boost and shoot those EX attacks in order to kill Cagney right before his iframes went off there. Very solid aisle 1. Very solid run so far.
Yeah. I'm actually plus 12 against PB right now.
Okay, not too bad.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah, moving on to... yeah.
1102 DLC, by the way. Not bad.
1102 DLC, nice. That's solid. Beats my PB in DLC. So nice job. All right, going into aisle 2, this game is just zipping by. This next boss we have, there is a bit of RNG to this. I mean, there's RNG in all the bosses, but this boss, Baroness, before you're able to fight her, you have to fight 3 of her minions, and there are 5 different minions that the game can send out, and they're randomized on each fight here. So We got the waffle first. The one that we're trying to avoid is the jawbreaker. The jawbreaker is very easy to kill, but has a very, very long death animation, so we're hoping not to get that. Of course, commentator's curse, it's probably going to show up here, right? Oh. Yep, there it is. Go figure. So Michael still is able to handle it quickly, but like I said before, there's a kind of a long death animation here before Baroness spawns. So Michael saved a lot of his cards here just to jump into her to shoot all these spread EXs, and before the castle even moves, Michael got the KO there, so that was nice. That's a pretty solid time, all things considered, with that pattern. There's a sub 40 with the jawbreaker, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, moving on next, we're going to go do another... we're going to do 2 more plane fights coming up, and I believe Michael is going to unequip Chalice for these 2 as well. For the same sort of logic, we're going to pick up mini bombs here, our secondary weapon, which you could use as both Mugman or Miss Chalice. But yeah, unequipping Miss Chalice for these. These bosses have parts where they have wide hitboxes that are beneficial to have that missile EX that we explained before during the Hilda fight. So that's another reason for us switching to Mugman for this. Ooh, you get the double shotgun pattern. Pretty rare one.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of this is just... following, basically just optimizing your damage. You'll see Michael going in closely for some damage boost to shoot some EX attacks right in Wally's face here. Really quick kill there. And then he's going to shoot some mini bomb EXs. Now, the mini bombs have a different EX attack than the machine gun, and they're ideal in different situations. Basically, if the boss has a wide hitbox, you want to use the missile EX like we're seeing right here in this final phase, and if they don't, then you want to use the mini-bomb EX. Now, the game doesn't typically intend that you stay down there. As you can see, Michael kind of got stuck a little bit. Luckily, his damage was good enough to kill the boss before the boss was able to kill him, but typically, I think the game intends for you to stay above the boss and drop those mini-bombs that you just got from up there, but because the hitbox is so wide, Michael's able to make quick work of the boss by shooting those missile EXs there. Moving on is another plane fight, and also one that has a secret phase. This is Jimmy the Great, probably one of my favorite fights, personally. I think it's just a really cool fight and how it progresses from the beginning to the end. But about midway through the battle, there is a part where Jimmy scans a copy of you to create a puppet. And if you become a mini version, which you do on plane levels whenever you dodge, basically if you use the dash button, you kind of shrink. But if you have Jimmy scan a mini version of you, he summons a mini puppet, which triggers the secret phase, which brings you right to final phase with a mini puppet also shooting you. Becomes pretty chaotic, but you'll see Michael trigger that a little bit later. Now, one interesting optimization you'll see Michael do in this part, which is basically an auto-scroller, you'll see he's killing all of these face pieces with 5 machine gun bullets and a mini bomb. That's the maximum amount of over damage you can do to them. And all the face pieces you destroy actually do damage to Jimmy's overall health bar. So kind of just doing some optimization there to make sure we get the maximum amount of damage on each wall piece just to shorten the fight. You'll see Michael did the mini plane right there whenever Jimmy scanned him, and now summons a very tiny but very cute puppet here. And now we go into final phase. While these pyramids are going around, they're going to be opening their eyes and shooting projectiles, while this mini puppet is also shooting projectiles at us. But Michael's just staying out of danger, shooting all these missile EXs and finishing the boss very quickly. Yes, okay. Nicely done. Nicely done. Coming up, we have another trick that is probably one of the harder tricks of the run, called Beppy Glitch. Some of you may be familiar, if you're familiar with Cuphead speedrunning. This has been a glitch in every version of the game, from Legacy to nowadays. And the way it works is that if you do enough damage to trigger third phase for Beppy while he's still in his first phase animation, the game breaks the fight and just stays in the second phase forever. You'll see Michael setting up a precise amount of damage. One thing to note about many of these Cuphead bosses, not only can you over-damage them between phases, but a lot of them will not change phases when they're in the middle of attacks. So if you wait until they start a long attack, you can do a bunch of damage and over-damage the phases. Okay. Those explosions in the background that you're seeing indicate that we triggered the glitch successfully. It is going to be dangerous now that we're down to 1 HP, so we'll see how Michael handles this. But right now, you'll see this balloon is stuck in its death animation. and the fight will never progress beyond this phase now because the game logic is now broken. So Michael just has to dodge all these dogs, parrying the pink ones whenever possible to get some extra card energy. Nice. Well done.
First try.
Yeah, that was looking a little dicey,
It was.
but you pulled it off. That first Freddy X had me sweating a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, going into the next boss here, the next two bosses actually have a little bit of platform RNG. You'll see what I mean in just a little bit, but Grim Matchstick, another really iconic boss, I think modeled after one of the Wily bosses in Mega Man 2, I believe, or at least inspired by it. But yeah, we have to jump on these cloud platforms while we fight this dragon. And outside of this first screen here, the platforms are randomly generated according to some programming in the logic. So it's not going to be impossible to get through, but you are going to have to react accordingly depending on how these cloud platforms spawn. So you'll see Michael getting as close as possible to do as much spread damage as he can and taking full advantage of Chalice's double jump to kind of save himself falling in a lot of these situations. Second phase here, you have another layer of RNG with these little flames that can jump at you. Only one of them did there. Michael finished that phase so quickly. But yeah, final phase here. We'll see how risky Michael wants to play it. There's a lot of damage boosting you can do here.
Okay.
Okay. Had me holding my breath at the end there.
I know what I'm doing.
I can tell. You played that perfectly. But yeah, a lot of these speedrunners, especially Michael here, you calculate the exact amount of damage you need so they know right when they can go in and damage boost to make sure they get the kill before they die. So that was great. And we're already done with Aisle 2. Wow. Now moving on to Aisle 3. Aisle 3 is a little bit longer than the other two aisles. I believe it has 7 bosses instead of 5. So it is a little bit longer than the previous 2 aisles, but with how fast Michael's been going through these, there's like no question in my mind that he's going to get through this quickly as well. This fight, Rumor Honeybottoms, is similar to Grim Matchstick in that the platforms are kind of randomized, but these ones kind of scroll vertically instead of horizontally there. So we have literally a different dimension of platforms that we're dealing with here. Now, this second phase, there's 3 different patterns that Rumor Honeybottoms can have. Michael got triangles for the first attack, which ensures that the next attack will be her dropping down in the center, which is nice. You can get the kill before final phase with this pattern pretty easily. As we mentioned, if you do enough damage, it usually carries over between phases on most of these bosses, and Rumor is no exception here. If Michael gets enough damage, if these platforms want to cooperate, and he can finish this fight in this phase, and yeah, wow. We didn't even have to see final phase at all. Good fight.
Dar skip.
Nice, nice. So moving on is a plane fight that most people consider the most difficult. It's kind of our first bullet hell type of actual plane level here, at least for the final phase. I think it's one of the cool ones. The first phase here for Dr. Cal's robot, you have to destroy 3 different parts. The top and then the middle and then the bottom. They each have different attacks. You'll see, sorry, excuse me. Michael's actually using Miss Chalice as this on this boss, getting up close and personal, doing some extra damage here. And Michael is going to be saving his cards for a nuke in second phase, because second phase, you can finish very quickly with this nuke. Okay. I'm going to be quiet a little bit and let Michael concentrate. You'll see what I mean about this bullet hell for the final phase. It's very tricky. Oh my goodness.
Dang.
Hey, it happens. It's a difficult game. Speedrunners are not immune to those deaths. But you know what? That was tough. Red gems too on top of all that. There's 2 different attacks that Dr. Cal can do in final phase, and red gems have the projectiles clustered a lot closer together, as you can see there. Hopefully we'll get blue gems this next time around because they're spread out a little bit more far. They do move faster, but having a little bit more distance between them kind of helps you with dodging. Okay. Looking cleaner here. Let's see how this goes. Oh, red gems again. Surprise. Now, one thing that's pretty interesting is that the game has parry patterns here that are basically preset depending on when you parry things. Sometimes if your computer's on for too long, it kind of, or if your computer's lagging a little bit, can ruin the parry patterns. But Michael has a very specific way that he goes about handling these patterns so he can get parries in the places that he wants them to. And that was a pretty solid time. Ish.
Not really. It's okay. It's okay. We move on.
Okay. Going on, I think this is probably the hardest trick of the run, but you'll see here, we're gonna attempt the Sally phase skip. There's a way where you can trigger the secret phase by lowering the 2 angel platforms at the top at around the same time that you trigger Sally's second phase normally, and the game gets confused and skips Sally's second phase entirely. So we'll see if Michael can pull this off. He needs to set up a precise amount of damage. Nice. So now, basically, because Michael did the correct amount of damage at the right time, the game skips second phase completely and goes to the secret third phase, where you have to fight both Sally and her husband, which you may have noticed in the background, the angels triggered something to fall on the husband, and that's supposed to be his ghost coming back with Sally to attack you or something along those lines. But wow, Michael, 33? That's crazy. It's a really fast time.
Yeah. I got 2 double damage charge shots actually in there.
Wow. That's crazy. Nice job. And first try, too.
Yeah.
And then moving on here, we have Werner Werman, or as they would say in Germany, Werner Wehrmann. But this is a kind of Tom and Jerry type fight here. You're fighting the mouse here, and eventually, spoiler alert, there will be a cat that you fight in the final phase. But you'll see Michael's just basically like other boss, just optimizing his damage here, taking some intentional damage boosts to shoot those spread EXs, shooting those charge shots when he's a little further away, and just optimizing his damage here. Another spread shot. Nice. It's going to be a charge EX here, yeah, and that is another situation like in the Goopy fight earlier where you can do double damage if you time it right. And the same with that damage boost that he took right there as well. That was just to get some additional damage whenever the cat came in here. Nicely done. That's always such a cool fight to look at, to watch whenever someone does it cleanly like that. Just all the damage boosting, all the spread damage in ideal spots. It's just really nice to watch.
Yeah.
Moving on, we have Captain Brinybeard, which, in my opinion, is one of the more annoying fights of the run. There's just a lot of intricacies with the RNG that are a little frustrating to deal with at times. Brinybeard will always start the fight off by shooting his gun 4 times. He'll either shoot 1 shot, pause, and then shoot 3, or 2 and then 2. 1 shot, pause, and then he shoots 3. But then after this, it's basically all bets are off. He might summon some minions. He might shoot his gun again. He's going for shooting the gun again. Ooh, and it was a 2 shot. Okay, this is a pretty fast pattern. Let's see what we get for the last attack here. Okay, this is nice. So he summoned a squid minion here. Michael's going to be doing enough damage to trigger final phase. There we go. Unlike most bosses, you actually can't really over-damage the final phase much. Ooh, okay, yeah, that charge shot in the beginning.
Yeah.
Saw that happen. I thought you might be able to still pull off the 1 cycle. But yeah, there's a very precise amount of damage you could do there. But you have to hit like a charge shot and kind of lead it in to have it hit the boss right whenever the hitbox becomes available there in order to get that. But Michael still handled that like a champ. Still got the kill right as soon as he opened his mouth to shoot that laser. And then moving on, we have Calamaria, one of the fan favorite plane bosses, and also the last plane boss of the run. Michael's going to be remaining on Miss Chalice for this, and getting up close and personal. For those of you that may have struggled with this casually, watch what Michael does in some situations here, because it does help you, at least for final phase. These speedrunning strats actually help casually. Maybe not in the first phase. You probably don't want to play it this aggressively. But wow, very, very nice pattern. Getting 3 parries here. Michael's going to be unloading all these EX attacks. One small optimization we didn't even mention before is something called the Ouija swaps, where you can shoot your EX attack while you shoot your weapon. Typically, when you shoot an EX attack, the weapon stops shooting. But if you It's a frame perfect trick. If you EX on the same frame that you, wow, that was a really fast second phase. But yeah, if you EX on the same frame that you weapon swap, you can continue shooting your weapon while you shoot the EX attack, and that effectively increases your DPS. But wow, that was such a good fight. What was that time?
What was that time?
It had to be like 50.
Oh my
50.
God.
Wow. I don't know if I've ever seen a time that good in this category with Chalice.
Wow.
That was a crazy good fight. Nice job.
Wow.
I forgot what I was going to say there. We were kind of speechless. It was a fantastic fight. But yeah, in that final phase there, if you stay very close to Miss Chalice, her stone gaze that normally petrifies you does not hit you. It spawns behind you. So all you have to do is just dodge those spike walls at the end. So that's your little pro tip if you're stuck on there in final phase in your first playthrough. Here, Phantom Express. Michael's getting up close and personal, shooting another spread EX there. Whew, very precise parry to get there without taking damage. This is another fight that has separate phases. One unique aspect of this boss is that the damage you do in between phases does not carry over into the next phase, so there's no benefit to overdamaging the boss, unlike other bosses. So Michael's going to try to finish off these phases as quickly as possible because, like I said, the overdamage aspect isn't really coming into play here. For this phase in particular, it's random which one of these will attack first, and Michael has a strat that basically accounts for each pattern. So he's able to finish them both at approximately the same time here. Now we move on to final phase. Now this gets a little tricky. You need to parry open the engine in order to hit it, but once you parry it open, you have to worry about these flames that are coming out. So you'll see Miss Chalice's double jump makes it very, very nice to hit that with spread. You can get very up close and personal. And Michael got that one cycle very easily at the end. If you take too long to finish off that final phase, you have to parry it back open again. But we didn't have to worry about that in this run. And we're already moving on to Inkwell Hell, the final two bosses of the run. We have King Dice and the Devil coming up. Now, fans of Gunstar Heroes might recognize the King Dice fight overall. It's kind of set up like a roulette table, I believe. And basically, you have to roll these dice in order to fight certain mini-bosses. There are 9 different mini-bosses, and you have to fight at least 3 of them, depending on what you roll. Now, Michael's going to be trying to roll to land on bosses 2, 4, and 8. There are also the options of getting some bonus hearts, depending on which bosses you land on, but unfortunately, the bonus hearts did not land on 2, 4, or 8 this run, so Michael's going to have to be stuck with the 4 HP that Chalice gets. Now, if we see Michael play his best, we might be able to see a 2-cycle here on the chips. Oh, that's such a good charge shot whenever he's going from left to right.
So
and there
good.
we go. We got the 2-cycle on that. It's
I love
very
that
nice to
charge
see.
shot.
Yeah. Really nice. Made quick work of those chips. Moving on here, Michael's going to try to roll a 3 to land on boss number 4. Nicely done. And this is a domino mini boss. Michael's going to have to dodge some spikes while getting up close and personal with spread. And depending on, okay, going in for the damage boost. I wasn't sure if you're going to go for that. Yeah, getting those 2 damage boosts in here to do some extra damage is really nice.
Nice.
It's a clean fight.
It helps a lot, those two.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Because you're getting all that spread damage as well. I mentioned the Luigi swaps on the plane levels, but aside from that, on the ground levels, there's an equivalent trick called Calva swaps. Bigger margin of error, but it's the same sort of concept where you're able to shoot your primary weapon while you're shooting the EX attack, so you're effectively adding a lot of DPS there for every time you do it. And that just requires you to weapon swap after you hit your EX button, but before the EX comes out. And this boss right here does not have a hurt box on the face, so that helps out because you can just jump right into it without having to worry about taking damage and then shoot all those spread EXs for that additional damage. Very clean fight. Now, one thing I think is cool that the developers did for the King Dice fight coming up, normally you have these cards that you parry for King Dice at the end here, and normally with Cuphead and Mugman, you have to parry on all the pink cards. But because Chalice's parry is sideways, it would be a little difficult to handle King Dice in the traditional manner, so you'll see the developers added these little hearts that come off of the off of the cards there, so you can parry above the cards. Which Michael is going to skip completely because we don't need parries. Parries actually make the result screen a little bit slower. So if you're able to skip getting parries on a boss fight, you usually want to skip those, because now you have that 0 out of 3 parry, and it just makes the result screen a little bit quicker. Then coming up already, it's the devil. Now, we didn't even talk about the plot of Cuphead, but the whole plot of this game is that you are in debt to the devil, and you plan to repay your debt by collecting all these soul contracts from other people in Inkwell Isle that are in debt to the devil. But when it comes time to give the devil the contracts, we just say no to the devil. So now we're going to fight the devil himself and then free all the residents of Inkwell. We'll see what RNG he gets here. There are 2 main patterns. You get either the serpent or the spider. In fact, we might not see any of that.
Oh.
Yeah. So we're going to just skip that entirely. Luckily, with this weapon combo, even if you get the spider, typically seen as bad RNG, it's not really that bad in this category. The versatility of charge kind of lets you negate the effects of some bad RNG in this game, which is handy. But yeah, right here, Michael's going to be shooting some precise charge shots. Now, time is going to be coming up very quickly whenever the knockout screen appears for this, which is probably going to be within the next 10 seconds, probably within the next 5 seconds. So here we go.
There we go.
Knockout.
Time.
Wow, that was very fast at the end. That final phase went by.
GG's.
Congrats.
I was afraid to talk. You were popping off so much, I didn't want to say anything.
All right. That was a 38-39 IGT.
Wow. Even with the death, that's crazy. That's a ridiculously good time. Congrats,
Yeah.
Michael.
Thank you. That was a 46-second death, I think. So,
Wow. So
Yeah.
you would have got a sub 38 without that's really, really good.
yeah.
Well, thank you both so much for showcasing that. That was remarkable. I don't even know what I saw on half of those boxes.
They go by too fast to
now-
even explain some of the times.
But if you all want to take a quick second to let the good people know where they can find out more about you, if you have any shout outs, thank yous, Discord community events, anything and everything, now is the time to share.
Thank you everyone for watching. Thank you GDQ Hotfix for having me. This is great. I've been working on this for years at this point, optimizing all these bosses. Join the Cuphead speedrunning community. Check out speedrun.com. Join our Discord. We have an awesome, vibrant community with so many awesome people, including Jason and others. There's too many to list. Thank you, friends and family, for watching. And yeah, that's Cuphead.
Nice job, Michael. Yeah, I just want to give a quick shout out, of course, to Michael for choosing me to be with him on commentary. It was an awesome time. It was an awesome run. And of course, shout out to the GDQ staff. Always a pleasure to work with. Thank you so much for putting this show together and having us on here. It's a fantastic time. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you both. We were very, very lucky that you were able to make it. It's such a pleasure to have you both on. We are going to take a quick little break as we get set up for our next run, which is going to be Castlevania Circle of the Moon. This is nuclear completionist. There's going to be some advanced AP physics involved. You're not going to want to miss this. That's with our old boy Jupiter Climb. And while we're in break, I do want to let you know that Frame Fatales is a community of women and femmes who share a passion for speedrunning, gaming, and charity. So in addition to their 2 flagship events, they host activities year-round in their Discord, like Game of the Month, randomizers, etc. So while we're on break, if you want to type !FF in chat to learn more and get involved, now is an excellent time. But we'll be right back in just a few minutes with some more amazing Castlevania speedrun. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Perilous Paths here on GDQ Hotfix. We are in the middle of our 1-year celebration episode. And before we get into our last run, which does include advanced physics that I'm very excited for, I do want to let everyone know that Black and Flash is a community that uplifts and connects Black speedrunners of all levels, offering a space to collaborate on speedruns, challenge runs, and randomizers while celebrating Black voices in the speedrunning community. If you want to learn more or apply to join, you can do so at gdq.gg/BAF and follow at blackandflash.bsky.social for updates. But
Don't miss their upcoming events. We're going to have Speeding Through the Holidays December 27th and 28th, and we're going to have Back to Black 2026 on February 5th to 8th. I'm looking forward to both of those events very, very much. But now, without further ado, we're going to move into Castlevania Circle of the Moon Nuclear Completionist, which Jupiter can tell us all about what that means. Jupiter, welcome back, friend of the show, legendary runner. We're so happy to have you. How are you doing today?
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm doing great. It's great to be here. This is a big milestone, so really happy to be a part of it. Now, I don't want to oversell this run too much, but what I can say in anticipation of what's to come, this is the greatest glitch in video game history. So, if we're ready, I can get into it. We can talk about it some more. I'll do a quick countdown.
Absolutely.
Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck, have fun.
Okay, so this is Castlevania Circle of the Moon. This is a game near and dear to my heart. Actually, the first Castlevania and the first Metroidvania I ever played. And it ends up being a really great speed game. There are a couple of glitchless categories, but if you've seen this before, you know how broken this game can get. Needless to say, this will not be a glitchless run. So the premise of the story is that this is a non-canonical Castlevania game. We're playing as not a Belmont, but a Grave, Nathan Graves. And you might not know this, Nathan is actually the strongest protagonist in the Castlevania franchise. I'm not sure even the people who made this game are aware of this, but I'll show you what I mean. First of all, we're playing on something called Thief Mode. In Thief Mode, take a look at our luck stat here. All of our stats are very bad, except luck is 1,600. We're really lucky. That's gonna help us get consistent drops that we need, like these cards coming up. Perfect RNG to start here. Now I'm gonna save. We got a difficult trick coming up. It's gonna require some advanced science. Gotta do a little bit of nuclear fusion live. See if I can get this first try. If not, we'll just load in. Okay, this is going to be a little bit difficult to explain at first. Bear with me. And might have gotten it first try here. Okay, that looks pretty good. Is the demon going to blow up? Yes, he is. Okay. We have successfully catalyzed a nuclear reaction. Now, what does that do for us? Well, it'll become really obvious in the next room. Observe. Okay. So basically, Nathan is going to be carrying around this nuclear bomb. The radiation from the bomb deals 9,999 damage. We think it's every frame, although it's hard to know for sure, since everything dies in one hit, even the final boss. Complete and total destruction. And this is going to stay with us for the rest of the game. Now, if you've played Circle of the Moon before, you know this is a huge game. It's a lot of stuff to find, a lot of cards. It's got a large castle. We are going to be getting literally everything in the game in under, hopefully, 75 minutes through the power of nuclear technology. For example, here comes the first boss. Check this one out. That was Cerberus.
I love how you walk into the room and it just immediately says level up. You don't even see anything.
Do you like the level up animation in this game? I've got some good news. We're going to be seeing it about 24 more times in a moment. So we'll have time to break down exactly how that all works. It's kind of weird. It's kind of crazy. We can't do it right now because there's another new glitch we got to show off here. I'm gonna fly now. I'm gonna fly while carrying the nuke. This is a frame perfect. It didn't take too long. Insta. Good. One more. Absolutely perfect. Okay, so we have now brought the nuke into Dracula's domain. He dies instantly, and we're gonna just collect all of these level ups real quick. So, Cutie, how you doing?
I'm doing great. We're stacking glitches on glitches. I have never seen anything quite like this. I knew about the skip to Dracula glitch, but this is ridiculous.
To give you the 101 info on nuclear fusion, really interesting. Shoutouts to Halgorithm, who is a La Mulana speedrunner who came up with this for us a few years ago. It's relatively new. You combine two of the most useless card combinations, the Imp Familiar, which is absolutely terrible in the normal game. You combine Imp with something called Quick Draw. You quick draw off of a frozen enemy, fall down, end up in a glitched state, and then, when you activate Imp, the laser beam combines with the glitchy quick draw, and, well, it gets explosive. Oh, I didn't even mention this glitch, which is so basic, doesn't even feel like a glitch. Let me explain this real quick. I've only got 2 cards, right? There's 20 in the game. All you gotta do, though, activate a combination you do have, pause, switch to a combination you don't, and you get that one. Just that easy. Unfortunately, we have to stop here because there's another new glitch. All right, so this is called a bone float. And 1 second here. This is a hard one to get first try. Ooh, that looks good. Very nice. Now I'm gonna turn back into a skeleton, jump on the ceiling. Cutie, I'm gonna be honest, I don't really know how to explain that one.
I'm watching it. I don't know what's happening. We've had a lot of games on the show, as we talked about earlier. We've done about 70 runs. I have never seen anything like this.
Next boss coming up. This one's a little bit tougher than the other one. See, because this one, I have to jump up here to get some map tiles. There we go. A little bit trickier. I love how after the boss blows up, it's just absolute silence. Okay, one more bone floats. This one's got a particular setup to it. Something like this. Let me try this again. See if we got it. Okay. Nice, perfect.
This was originally a GBA game, right?
Absolutely. In fact, this was a launch title for the GBA, fun fact.
I'm trying to picture someone doing this on the actual handheld console and how hilarious that would be.
It's worth noting, yeah, we are playing this on the Advanced Collection, So I'm playing this on PC. But everything you're seeing here is 100% doable on original hardware. No problem.
I'm gonna have to Google a video of that. I want to see it in handheld so bad.
Could the GBA even handle this? I don't know. Now I'm gonna try to go for an unbuffered here. This is another frame perfect. We'll see if we get it in a few tries. If not, I do have a frame advance backup, a little bit slower. This is a fine run, I must say. Getting all the tricks first try here. Now, this is another somewhat tricky boss fight. Here, the issue is, can you see the boss?
I don't actually know what I'm looking for, so I'm like getting real close to the screen, trying to spot the
Don't
ball.
get too close, it's gonna get bright.
Yeah, that hurt.
And that's Camilla down. Okay, so now we get a very important movement upgrade. The reason we kind of route things in this order is because we want to get flight, proper flight, not the crazy flight, ASAP. So this is Rock Wing. You do something like this, and you get a super jump. Obviously very useful.
So when we're talking about the category completionist, there's always a bit of a question of what's in the 100%, what isn't. Are we doing like literally everything, every upgrade? Because we just saw you got the HP max. Are we doing skills and cards, or like where do we?
Yeah, it's a great question because, you know, the Castlevania games typically only include map percentage. So if you see everything on the map, that's 100%. But that's kind of not what we mean here. We mean way more than that. We mean true hundo. So all cards, and I'm going to be doing at the very end of the run. We've got like a checklist to go through. Actually, bear with me for one moment, I apologize. I want to get back to this, but this is one of the scariest parts of the run. So what could possibly end the run? We're doing 9999 damage every single frame. Well, enemies that spawn in and don't have an active hitbox until they can kill you, that's something that can kill the run. By the way, one more of these. If you take damage, the nuclear bomb destabilizes and it's all over.
I mean, it wouldn't be on Perilous Paths if the nuclear bomb couldn't explode, right?
True. Wouldn't be very perilous.
We had another one of those. I think I might get this wrong, but I think maybe it was Castlevania 64, where there's like a nitroglycerin bomb, and if you touch anything, it blows up. Seems to be a running theme for us.
Good, okay. That's kind of neat. You can, you can't push that box yet. Funny enough, one of the few things the nuclear bomb cannot blow up is a regular box. Too bad. But we can do something like that.
They took that right out of Metal Gear Solid.
No, I did not get an item that I need. Sorry to interrupt. There's a luck ring down here that's a 1 in 4 drop rate. So let's get one of these before we move on. But yeah, those ghosts that spawn in that hallway can absolutely kill the run. One of the primary run killers, so we gotta be careful there. Oh, we're getting unlucky. 3,000 luck, not enough. There we go. Okay. On to the clock tower. So yes, let's go through the list of all the things we gotta get in this game, shall we? Every map tile in the game, every card in the game, all armor pieces, all accessories, all HP upgrades, all MP upgrades, all heart upgrades. We don't have to get to max level, thankfully. That would be somewhat pointless. But otherwise, it's literally everything. Oh, every consumable item? Yeah. All key items. Got to defeat all bosses.
And is there anything that we have to farm or grind for? Like, as you may remember from your last appearance, we had to get certain items or drops from certain characters. Do we need to do anything like that here other than the luck ring that we just saw?
Absolutely, that's actually a huge part of the run. So combat is, well, not very important in this category. It's really more of a movement showcase. So things that matter the most in completion is, number one, getting all the crazy glitches first try. And this has been insanely good. We've gotten pretty much everything first try here. That's number one. I'm gonna play this a little bit safe, by the way. Number two is good movement. And then number three, you gotta get lucky. It's the Castlevania classic, you've gotta get lucky. There's a lot of things that even on Thief mode have a pretty slim drop rate. So, let me get this card here. Jupiter. Hey, it's Jupiter. So, if it's a rare drop, no matter how high your luck stat is, the max drop rate's 25%, and then for common drops, it's 50%. So, the rarest stuff, that's Iron Golem, the rarest stuff in the game is going to be between 1 in 5 and 1 in 4, which is not that bad, but there's like 10 of those that are not super easy to get that we're looking out for. So, if you want to get world record, you gotta get lucky. Another one coming up right here, actually, the defense armband.
It's not nearly as bad as the quote-unquote bone zone, where you got, what is it, 1 in 8 for throwing the bones to get a big bone?
Can you believe Skeleton is no longer the most optimal option in Circle? As crazy strong as the Skeleton is, it's not optimal anymore. Not in 2025.
The more you know. So what is optimal now? What took over?
Well, the nuke. Hard to beat, frame perfect, 9999. I think it's safe to say this is going to be optimal forever. Could be wrong.
I didn't know if it was allowed in that category, but okay, I get. Obviously,
now we have actually, funny enough, we've
damage.
quarantined Nuclear. We've separated it into its own thing on the leaderboard for obvious reasons. So there's Completionist, and then there's Nuclear Completionist, which we're playing here. I'm gonna go for another. So I'm gonna go for another unbuffered here. It's been good so far, and if you get this first right, it's theoretically a little bit faster. Frame early. Frame late. Frame late. There we go, that's a double. Not bad. More.
I'm just pulling up Speedrun. It looks like Nuclear saves about half an hour, which is wild.
Okay, the zips were all right. Back on the ceiling. We end up on the ceiling a lot in this category. Now, I am currently working on a record grind. For this category, records around 55, 50 or something like that. I want to go for a 54, which is going to be a crazy time, but it's going to take a while to get everything to come together like that. But I'm working on it. This year, maybe next year, is going to be a lot more Nuclear.
Okay. How are we looking right now? One thing we have not had in the last year is a PB or world record.
Well, unfortunately, this is one of those categories that's it's been optimized too much for a marathon record. Also, I decided to play on English because it's a little bit easier to follow along that way, and that loses a few minutes. Let's say a couple minutes, just from the text speed, so. I made that compromise for you, chat. Now you can read great dialogue like, "You could never beat me in training. Never once. But father named you the successor, blah, blah, blah." Riveting. Riveting. The story in this game, not the best part. It gets the job done, I guess.
And is there a lore reason behind the cards? Are they tarot cards?
Oh, that's a great
special
question.
about them?
I'm going to be honest. Does anyone in chat know if there's a lore reason? Why is this partially a Yu-Gi-Oh game? I don't know. There's a reason why Nathan has the whip. As for the cards and like why he's so instantly adept at using them, I could not even begin to speculate. Maybe it's a hobby for Nathan.
Feels a little overpowered. You get the whip and you get all of that and the cards. Like, I mean that's before we get into the nuclear fusion, but that's a whole different thing.
Nice. Yeah, I really like the platforming in this game. High jump is such a high jump. It's pretty hard to control. So there's all kinds of different ways to barely get the right amount of height and get the right angles. It's a lot of fun to optimize. Oh, let me get that card. Manticore. We're going to be returning to Chapel later to go to Battle Arena. Let me tell you, Battle Arena is going to be a very cathartic part of the run. If you've done Battle Arena yourself, I think you'll really enjoy that section. It's going to go exactly the way you expect it to. So question in the chat, is Circle of the Moon a spin-off game? This is not a spin-off, but it's non-canonical. So it's part of mainline, but it's not part of the, what's the right term for it? Primary chronology? Not part of the main universe? But not a spin-off. And that's good, because Nathan deserves to be part of the main series. In fact, I want to see Circle of the Moon too.
We haven't had any Castlevania news in a while, have we?
Now, it was Dominus Collection last year in September, which was one of the all-time great collections. I mean, gold standard for game preservation. But since then, yeah, you're right, it's been Konami not capitalizing on the anime at all, not making any new games. It's been tough. Next year, we're getting Bloodstained. We're getting a sequel to Bloodstained called The Scarlet Engagement. Everyone's really excited for that. But hopefully Konami steps up and gives us new Castlevania 2. It'd be great to have both.
Yeah, I think with the anime, it's extremely surprising that they didn't do, like, I'm not going to say they didn't do anything because they did re-releases and there was stuff, but you would have thought there would have been something, you know, to that. But speaking of Dominus, we were talking about this a little earlier. All the collections, hashtag not sponsored, are on sale on Steam. So if you have ever had an interest in getting it more into the series, speedrunning or otherwise, you can pick those up for cheap right now. I'll be doing that. I think there's like, I don't know, 15, 20 games in all those collections. So this being a Castlevania, Metroidvania show, definitely want to plug that if you're interested in these games.
There are very few things you can buy on Steam that are better value. Definitely check those out. Now, that was a very scary part of the run. I didn't want to make anyone nervous. Those ghosts are another primary run killer. So we're pretty much good on run killers, except for one. It's coming up a little bit later. Mudman. Hardest enemy in the game, but we'll worry about that later. So we've gotten roll.
Up that upgrade, and he goes, "You can now push a box."
That's right. Finally, Nuclear has reached its full capabilities. We can push a box, and we can roll, which is actually faster through doors, which is cool. Oh, you know, I take it back. Yes, Apparatus is completely correct. I think it's fair to say that Dominus and Silksong are equally good value.
That is fair. Silksong came out at, I think, $20 if memory serves, which is, for a game that hyped, like, ridiculous. That's amazing that they would do that.
$20 BTW. Might as well put that on the box, make it the slogan.
There is a little bit of a Silksong thing coming up on Hotfix, I think on Sunday. Don't quote me on that, but you can go to the Hotfix schedule to find out when that is. But we are doing a Silksong celebration in the very near future. And it will be, I believe, a bonus game or unlockable game at a GDQ, but also don't quote me on that.
That lineup is looking really, really strong this year. Dawn of Sorrow is also going to be making an appearance. You're going to see some more Castlevania. Definitely add that run to your must-watch list.
And funny enough, that's the one being done by Lonely, right?
Absolutely, yeah. It's gonna be a bid war.
So, the funny thing about that is they just released the relay race for Super Mario 64, and Lonely is handing off to me, and we had Lonely on the show previously.
Yo, that's sick.
Cool.
Has it been announced, Cutie, which stars everyone's doing, or is it a surprise?
Yep. King J did a whole stream of everybody's star, the order, who was picked, all that stuff. You can check that out on their stream. And there's clips, but there's also a Google Doc version if anyone's interested. But that relay race is going to be hype.
I was thinking about going for box skip here. I'm actually going to decline it. It's kind of risky. One wrong button press and the application will close itself. So I'm not gonna do that. This run's been really, really sick. Let's not risk it. I'm gonna solve it, okay? I'm gonna play the game the way that Konami wants me to. We're gonna just solve the puzzles.
I like how you can break it so bad the application just gives up. It's like, nope, I'm out. You clearly don't want to do this game the right way. We're done here.
I'm just doing this for map tiles. A lot of the weird movement you'll see me doing is just collecting map tiles. Either that or I'm getting very confused. No, that one was intentional. Make sure I got all of these. Okay, we're good. Now we got a couple of very important farms coming up soon. We got to get the Sage Robe. We got to get the Apollo card. I wouldn't mind a Mind DX. Not that one, that's a Mind High. But we'll see. There's a backup if I don't get that one here. Something else is cool about this category, it's kind of a memory test, you know? This game's got a ton of items. You gotta just remember all the ones you've picked up, all the ones you still gotta collect. A lot to keep track of. I do have some notes with me, but those only take you so far, you know? All right, here we go. And not first try. Thank you, Lilith. Thanks for nothing. This is a 1 in 5. Classic. All right, my luck stat is 7,000. It's not enough. It's got to be 9,999. It's just not enough.
We gotta get to over 9,000.
Okay, there's the Mind EX. Here's the Sage Robe. Here's the Sage Robe. It's this one. This one. This one. Guaranteed.
Did you say 1 in 5?
Guaranteed. It's a lock. Cutie, it's a lock. It's this one. This one. This one. 100% I'm calling my shot. It's this one. 100%. How does he know? He calls it every time. Let's go. All right, now we're going this one. Well, that was really bad. At least we got Apollo on the way.
The irony of the slight penalty of you having to level up because you keep getting extra EXP the more times you do it.
True. Level ups, well, you can't do better than 9,999, so not so helpful now. That's not even the worst farm. There is a farm later for an item called the Gambler Armband, ironically, where every try takes 10 seconds. That's kind of the make or break for record. If you're on good pace and that goes badly, you lose 2 minutes.
I got faith. We already got the bad, that was 14 tries on a 1 in 5. We already got the bad RNG out.
That is my personal favorite, Copium. We've got the bad RNG out of the way. I choose to believe it.
And if you don't, you just say, well, the run was already bad. Who cares? Double copiums.
Oh, a little bit more. There we go. Little trick here, you just hold down forward, and you'll always end up with the right sub-pixel to get through there. It's kind of cool. Okay, so death has got 2 phases, so we have to do something a little different. This is moderately interesting. What you do is, you wait right here. If you go in too far, you will be locked in the room and the run is over. So is that interesting?
Why would you get locked? Yeah, why would you get locked in?
Oh, much like the boxes, the doors, the boss doors just can't be broken with the nuclear bomb. And now
But it doesn't open because you killed death? Like, I'm just curious about, like, the trigger of it.
it's a good question. I couldn't tell you 100% either. It's something about the way you kill the boss too quickly. Doors just can't keep up. So now we're back for a catacombs cleanup. We kind of went through here any percent before. Now we've got all the upgrades, so we can get all of the upgrades that we need in terms of like stat items and or equipment pieces. I really enjoy this part of the run. It's like going back, being a little bit more thorough now. Okay, there's the heart mega we're looking for. I already got that save room. Well, whatever. Muscle memory. Normally I skip that one. Now, you wouldn't think it, but the scariest enemy in this run, the enemy that is most likely to kill the run by disabling the nuclear bomb, is Mudman. The level 1 enemy at the very start that comes from the ground and does like 1 damage. Hardest enemy to dodge. I had to spend hours looking for a half-decent setup to avoid this guy, and it's still not 100%. We're gonna see if it works tonight. If not, good news is this category, this game, is super marathon safe because it's got a rewind feature built in. We don't want to use it. If I do have to use it, we're gonna pretend like I'm not using it, okay? We'll call it a stream
Not to be
hiccup.
confused with Mugman, who we just had in the other game.
Oh yeah, what an interesting little connection. How about that Cuphead run though? What a run.
That was wild. That was special.
It is a great honor to be following that run. It's just insane gameplay. Now all of this movement
What's
is routed
interesting is I'm
carefully to
noticing-
get all the map tiles. Sorry, go ahead.
So often, obviously, in Castlevanias, there's a lot of traps and spikes and all kinds of fun stuff. I'm noticing, because you said you can't take a hit, that there's not a lot of that in this game, which is obviously making this a little bit easier to maintain the bomb, but it is curious that there is no kind of environmental hazards.
Yeah, the only exception to that would be the poisoned water, but fortunately that does not actually disrupt the nuke for whatever reason. Okay, one more. We're halfway through the nightmare room. Oh! Okay, one more. Jeez, that was so scary. Oh, okay. Ooh, did you see that ghost? That was, whoop. And if you get hit there, there's just nothing you can do about it. But we're through. We've made it. No rewind. Now, question in the chat, can you re-enable the glitch? Not really, basically. It's super slow. And my understanding is that because of the way the game, like, taps into some junk data, you know, the game gets confused, you combine the cards. I think, at this point in the run, with all the stuff we've gotten, I don't think it works the same way. I think you'd have to find an alternate setup, but I'm not 100% sure on that. I've got my master's in nuclear fusion. I don't have a PhD yet. That's a PhD level question. That's more theoretical nuclear.
So do we have any, I know we were super glitch heavy in the beginning. Do we have any more glitches coming up, or we're mostly focused on the cleanup side?
Mostly focused on the cleanup side now. There's an area coming up called Waterway, which has got some unique stuff happening, but more clips than glitches. You'll see what I mean when we get there, but no. It's a little more front-loaded. Get the crazy stuff out of the way immediately. I will say, though, my favorite part of the run might not be the glitchiest part of the run, but it's the battle arena, which is yet to come, and it's going to be awesome.
We do love a good battle arena over here. I'm really enjoying reading some of this chat.
Yeah, like I said, greatest glitch in video game history. It is certainly a spectacle. It's awesome. Now, there's another way to disable the nuke, which is if you whip without spinning the whip. I don't know why, but nuclear bomb goes away. So if you gotta make real careful, you gotta be real sure that you're not messing that board up. Like here, for example. I want to hit that thing. I'm holding the button for dear life right now. And... okay, fine. Yeah, on any of these, if I mess them up, the run is just over. I'll have to rewind.
I was just getting with those blocks like Sonic flashbacks. I was starting to hear the music in the back of my head. Thankfully, there's no air bubbles here, though. So.
This might be really good. Let me see if I got the double hit or not. Nice. Double hit loses a lot of time. That's good. Okay, now for this part.
I love seeing people come into chat and having no idea what's going on.
Is this the worst speedrun of all time? Oh, I'm gonna get the map, some map tiles up here. Is this the worst speedrun of all time to come in midway through? I think it might be. That's happened to me as well when I'm streaming. It's like, what's happening? Just got here, what's happening?
Why is your character 6 different colors and everything magically explodes?
You know, I remember when we were first discovering all this stuff and breaking it down, doesn't it kind of look like a radiation warning symbol? You know, the orange, the flashing orange, the shape of it. It's kind of amazing how well this glitch works out.
It does look kind of like you're on fire or something. Like, it makes logical sense why stuff would be taking damage versus like you're just running and everything explodes. Like, it's nice that they put a graphic indicator for the glitch in there.
That's true, they put it in. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, it was totally intentional.
Another couple of farms coming up. We already got the Mindy X, so don't have to worry about that one. But I'm looking for maybe a magic robe. It's a super rare drop here. Why did that happen? Uh-oh. Hang on. I'm going to stay here for a second. Is the nuke stable? Ooh, that was... that is a GDQ classic that has never happened before. Somehow I activated the button... I have done this run I don't know how many times, and that's literally never happened. Well, I'm gonna study the VOD. There's a chance we've just found some new tech here. Live on stream. Fascinating. Okay. I wonder why that happened. Time to do some real science. Figure that out.
It looks like it's stabilized now, though, right?
Yeah, we're good to go. We're good to go. If it dissipates, it takes like 3 to 5 seconds, so we're in the clear. Not to worry, everyone. Relax.
I was like, how far does rewind go back? Can we just cut back 2 minutes? I'm guessing it's like a 10-second thing.
No, rewind in this game's great, actually. It's like 30 to 45, so we'd be all right. So we're almost out of the waterway. Last item I need is a 1 in 4 drop from the Ice Demon. It's ice armor, or diamond armor, rather. Not first try, I got one more, and then we'll have to farm for it.
No, Oh, chat makes an interesting point. Looks like maybe Biohazard is the next game being run after us. So we have a nuclear glitch followed by a biohazard glitch. We're really just doing WMDs today.
That's a crazy coincidence. All right, so unlucky again. It's what we call marathon luck. This one's like what, 5-6 seconds every time? Rainbow robe, I need that one too. Not the main one I need though. Okay, that wasn't too bad.
Yeah. It's a containment stream.
A little bit of cleanup here, just the first half of gallery, and then it's time for my favorite section in the run.
I like how the platform just got destroyed there.
That's a fun little platforming gimmick. You gotta ride the platform. I should also mention those zombies can also theoretically get you, but it's so rare. Basically, just don't think about it. You're more likely to get hit if you hesitate or if you jump, if you panic. So, the rare occasions it does have, you just gotta reset. Until then, you gotta live your life. Don't worry about zombies. Good life lesson, I think. Just don't worry about them.
I love how literally the slowest thing in this game is pushing the box. Just slowly and surely getting that CrossFit workout in.
If you're watching this and you haven't played Circle on the Wall, you might be seeing some secrets you've never seen before. This game has got some crazy secret walls. Some of the most cryptic in the whole series, honestly. Okay, good movement here. Now this is another scary zombie part. Let's see how it goes. It's perfect movement. Now for the descent. Oh, okay, we're good. A lot of close calls. Yeah, it's fine.
We're farming for content right now. We gotta get all the close calls. You're more likely to be hit by a chicken than a zombie. I think that checks out. I think that's factually true. And if you play Zelda games, those chickens, they're not friendly.
Okay, so here we go. Battle arena coming up. I've already got the ninja garb, so don't have to worry about that far. We can skip that one. But I do need to get Saturn, which is another 1 in 4. I think we're due for a first try. How about it?
I am not about to commentate Curse You. I'm gonna keep my mouth shut.
Come on, could you please bless the run? If you say we'll get it first try, I guarantee it'll happen.
All right. We'll get it first try. But don't blame me.
I can't promise this. Here we go. No, that's fine.
Oh.
Not major time loss. If it's not first 2, I'm sad. Cringe.
Fun fact, in March 2026, this glitch will be 4 years old.
How time flies. So that wasn't too bad. It's actually above average. All right, are you ready for the battle arena, the hardest part of the game? My favorite portion. This is so fun. I just think back to all the hours I spent trying to get through here, getting owned. Now I'm back and I'm powered up. I'm nuclear. We're ready to win.
I love the second you went in the first room, especially the werewolf just like exploded.
What an entrance. Now there is no music here, that's normal. So we get to just enjoy the sound effects.
There's actually a lot more enemies than I was even expecting for something called Battle Arena.
This place is super difficult. Probably, in fact, definitely the toughest portion of any GBA Castlevania. That's my favorite room. Look at all this free healing.
That is a lot of chicken. Does that make this technically a Thanksgiving game? I don't know. Some food for thought, chat.
Whoa, did you see that? Another never happened before. I collected the card, same frame I leveled up, and I skipped the text. Oh my god. All kinds of new stuff happening. Once again, I'm gonna have to investigate more and see if there's a way to make that consistent. Almost certainly not, though. I mean, with the way things are blowing up like this, there's no way to do, like, experience routing. So just an absolute miracle. I saved 2 seconds there. Huge. Huge. And I didn't get the card, so now we're losing 10. That's how it goes. I didn't get this card. Any luck? Any luck? Now check this out. This is cool. We're at the end of the battle arena. Here's the shining armor. Never mind the typo. What you can do, I actually recommend this on casual playthroughs as well. You slide, then you slide back in. So you don't have to go through the whole thing again. Nice mirror armor pickup. Okay, that saves us a farm later. Makes it a bit easier to get these rare cards. Are you kidding me? It's so unlucky. Oh, we're losing a lot of time here.
But that's more opportunities for never happened before. We've got 2. That's a record now. I've never had 2 in one run.
Oh my god! The luck is shocking. It's shocking right now. All right, we gotta go through it again. If I miss this again, oh man, it's like 30 seconds every time. Let's try it again. Gotta be this one. Wow. Let's go again. Any cards? Wow. It's a 25% each, and there's 3 of them in that room. So, you gotta crunch the numbers on that. I have never gotten this unlucky on Unicorn before. Yeah, that's a good question. What is my current luck stat? 9,120. Not enough. It's not enough. There it is. Okay. Now we can leave. Okay, quick card check here. I'm actually missing Thunderbird. It's not a problem. This one I've got a backup for. Get that in Observation Tower. So all of this miserable luck is fine if we get the Gambler armband here first try. This is the most important farm in the whole game. It's the one where if you don't get it, you lose 10 seconds every time.
Ray did some math for us. He says if you kill 6 of them, it's an 83% chance. I don't know how many we killed, but it was a lot.
I think we killed like 12 or 15 or something. It was a lot, yeah, because you go back and forth, so...
Having to reset more than 3 times is 0.4%.
Oof. Oof.
Marathon luck, baby. Let's go.
peep this first try, though. No. There will be 0 lucky farms. Sorry, everyone. Good luck is banned. It's banned. So as you can see, this is a long hallway. You got to go all the way to the middle just to get a chance at it.
There is something equally special. This is my third form of copium. Equally special about extremely bad luck, where it's like you won the lottery, but not in a good way.
Yeah, at least it's average. Third try, you lose 20 seconds, you move on.
Somebody in chat's doing the Oppenheimer quote. It's ironic you had to kill death when you've become death.
Truly the Oppenheimer of speedrunning. Nothing even comes close.
Yeah, see, chat's on our side says bad luck is way more entertaining than good luck.
Okay, one more
You're
zip
just saving
here.
the good luck for your personal stream.
These two.
2 cards.
Here we go, nice. The glitches have been excellent this run. Really happy how everything's going here. So what I can control has been superb. What I can't control, well, I can't control it, you know. Now, there's an interesting question here, which is, why don't you just get this the first time around, right? Well, if you delay coming over here, Iron Golem, the boss, will actually get replaced by the candle enemies, and you won't be able to quote-unquote defeat every boss. So it won't be a real completionist run. So we gotta go in there for 2 frames, just make sure that he blows up properly, and then we have to come back. You remember that boss fight, right, cutie? Iron Golem? I was there for 2 frames.
I do.
It was a great boss. Yeah, it was a great boss. Glad he's in the run.
I'm just thinking about the poor speedrun mods who have to like scroll through and do the 2-frame check on the first submission. Like,
True.
yep, okay, you went in there for 2 frames. It's all good.
Now, we try to make it, as a mod for this game, we try to make it easy for the mods. So there's a whole checklist process. In fact, we'll do that before I defeat the final boss here, just to make sure we got everything. If not, I can always, we'll have time, I think, to backtrack and scoop up anything I've missed. You never know what's gonna kill a run. It's like you think you're on really good pace, you reach the end, it's like, oh, I missed a random map tile, or I missed a potion or something like that. Many new and exciting ways to lose a record when it comes to nuclear.
It's sort of incredible you keep all of that in your head. Like, I can only speak for myself, but when I play Metroidvanias, like, just even learning the map and the order and where to go and stuff is hard. But being able to keep every single item and map tile and everything that you have to collect all in your head, I assume you have notes or something.
A few notes. I do not have the best memory. It's really just all about practice. Try and make as much of this second nature as you can, because you're right, it's a ton to keep track of. It's like I always say with speedrunning, I think one of the most underrated traits you got to develop is a really good autopilot. Because you can't be constantly locked in all the time, right? It's just not realistic. So instead, you got to be able to trust your autopilot when you're playing video games. That goes for this category as well, where there's a lot of items. Like, I'm not even thinking about this. I got to get a dark armor drop. It's about a 1 in 4, 1 in 5. It's definitely a rare one. That's why offline practice, where you're just kind of grinding the same thing over and over, really, really important.
It's gonna be really fun to add up all the RNG on this all at the end and figure out what the odds were of getting like this exact level of luck, because again, it looks like we're grinding and a little unlucky here.
It is so funny you say that. I was actually in the process of doing something similar, where it's like I wanted to calculate for all the ones that are not essentially guaranteed. There's Dark Armor. What are the odds of getting perfect luck? And I stopped because it was getting too demoralizing. I didn't want to know, actually.
Yeah, the more opportunities you have to account for, where it's 1 in 4, 1 in 4, 1 in 4. Now it's like 132 or whatever that maps out into. I run an RPG that has like only 4 or 5 sections in RNG, and I did the math on that. I was like, great, okay, I've got about a 1 in 22 chance of this run ever being world record level, and I imagine for this one that's even going to be worse, much worse.
Yeah, perfection is unattainable. In a way, that's kind of a relief. It's like you don't got to worry about being literally perfect, just very lucky. Isn't it funny? After a while, you honestly almost kind of get used to it, don't you? The insanity of the 9999 nuke. It's like, oh yeah, of course. That's how you play Circle, right?
Yeah,
this is normal.
The irony is I haven't played this game normally, so like I know Castlevanias, but I don't have an exact frame of reference of how we're skipping everything. So it does kind of just, you get used to the feeling of just running around, and obviously that's a big part of speedrunning. In general, is the running and skipping and running around movement's always the most important thing, but it is funny that we're just like, yeah, this is just how the game works now.
Casually, some would consider this the hardest of these Castlevania Metroidvanias. You wouldn't know it watching this. Another drop here looking for needle armor. Once again, average.
Yeah, chat's saying odds of a perfect run is probably like in the millions.
That sounds about right as a ballpark, yeah. Just do 1 million runs.
Yeah.
That should be all the map tiles. I'm just going to confirm at the end of this next room, because this is one of the trickier ones to get. It's good movement. Oh, almost good movement. Let's see, did we get them all? We got them all.
That looks like Simon Says on the tower there.
Oh yeah, it kind of does. You've ruined it. It's ruined.
Now you're gonna see that every time.
Can I just say, I really like the visual style on this game. It's a GBA launch title, and unlike the later games, they didn't design it to be like at the time it was considered quote unquote too dark. Because they didn't make it with the GBA's lack of a backlight in mind. So if you're playing on like an OG Game Boy Advance, it can be really hard to see. But nowadays, I think that decision has aged well. This game looks really unique. It's got a great gothic style to it, very memorable art style. A lot of cool enemy and boss designs. I love Circle. I really think it's one of the best games. A little underappreciated, but those who like it love it.
I think having spent way too much time in your stream, I think you've converted me to Aria of Sorrow being my favorite.
Oh yeah, let's go. That is the best game, absolutely. Fantastic.
Now, I do not really know that game very normally. I know it from you doing the roguelike and the Iron Souls and variations on the game. I know it's a super popular run, though.
Yeah, it's funny. Ari has gotten so many different ways to play, so many hacks, and so many different, like, what do you even call the roguelike? It's a miracle, but what would you call it? I don't know. But there's so many different ways to play. It's almost like Ari has become like a game engine at this point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's an excellent game in general, too. Like, just the graphics, movement, everything is very smooth. Like, you know, that's one of the ones when I pick up these collections, I'm going to be doing Aria casually. I'm looking forward to that.
I think nowadays, yeah, the two most popular, Symphony of the Night and Aria of Sorrow. All of these Castlevania games are so great. There's no right or wrong ranking. Okay, there's that Potion EX I was looking for. I wouldn't get out of here. Already got some soldier fatigues.
Somebody in chat
Oh
mentioned
no, I
missing
missed a tile in the Thank you, Glowy, friend of the stream, Glowy. Oh, I know, it is the most commonly skipped map. So I was probably rambling about who knows what. We gotta go back. We gotta go back into the warehouse. All right, we'll take the trip. Well, what's the current time, by the way?
That is my fault. I made you go full autopilot. We were about 60 flat based on
fine.
like stream catching up and stuff.
Because this is actually the end of the run here. So what I'll do is I'll do a run review. We'll make sure we have everything except for that map tile. By the way, see ya, Hugh. See ya later. And then any other cleanup we got to do, we'll do it.
At least we found that out now. It'd be like we do the whole run and then somebody's like, actually, you missed the one map tile. It doesn't count.
Yeah, eagle-eyed, glowy. Good stuff. Thank you. So there's literally just one more item I got to pick up. We already got the mirror armor. So the last thing I need is going to be everyone's favorite, the bear ring. This is so cool because this is a secret item within a secret within a secret. And then the secret item has a secret effect. It's like, could they make this any more cryptic? So first of all, here's the random secret. Good luck finding this on your own. Then in the ceiling, there's a secret. Then there's a secret enemy. And there's the secret item. Of course, the only good luck we've gotten in this run was the bear ring. How that works is if you turn into a skeleton with the bear ring equipped, you become a bear. Very cool. So let's check this out, shall we? Let's take a look. 99.8 cringe. We got all the cards. Oh, it's the Thunderbird. Hang on, gotta get that one. Now for armor pieces, we're looking for 22 armor pieces. Okay, we got them. We're looking for 18 accessories. 18 accessories, we got them. 14 consumables. Perfect. I think the stats look fine. And then for cards, or sorry, magic items, we got them all. Okay, we got 2 errands to run. Let's go to the warehouse first for 1 map tile. Let me just make sure I see it. It's the most awkward one. What's cool, I guess we can show this off a little bit. You'll notice the second time through, the box puzzles are quote unquote solved, and the intended solutions based on where the boxes end up, not how I do them. Not how I do them.
Dracula's just, I don't know if Dracula's in this castle. I think he is for this game, right? Dracula's just going around doing a little bit of housekeeping.
Yeah, at the moment, now that he's been defeated, he's off in the chaotic realm, powering up. He's got one of the sickest designs of any Dracula fight. Unfortunately, he's going to die.
What's actually giving him all that chaotic energy is that you put the boxes in the wrong place, and he's just very upset about it.
So here's the map tile. You ready? Here it is. That's the map tile. And now, 100%. You can see that's just so easy to overlook.
It's just the corner of the ceiling.
So now for Thunderbird, I didn't get it in Chapel, and I didn't get the backup from Dullahan, which is very unlucky. So instead, I think we'll warp to Chapel. I think that'll be best. This won't take too long, a couple more minutes. And then we'll wrap things up with a very, very, I'm gonna be honest, anticlimactic final boss. But I really hope everyone's enjoyed the run. This is one of my favorite games, and I think the greatest glitch. So I hope it's been a good time.
It has been an amazing time. It's always a pleasure when we have you on.
Well, thank you very much.
But the game itself is also good.
One of the best. So right up here, I'm not gonna warp, we're just gonna take the normal route here. How about one more zip? A little bonus.
Just
There we
swag
go.
just a little bit.
Yeah, there we go. That looks good, right? Let's just go ahead and appreciate this. Doesn't this look great? Okay, right in here is where we can do the farm. GG, it's hundo.
That was easy. That is officially, as you would say in a randomizer, the go sign, right? The go button.
Oh, it's go mode.
You're all good. Yeah, go mode. Sorry.
Hey, speaking of randos, you know Circle's got a new up-and-coming rando with like enemy rando in there.
Does it?
So Circle might be a game to look out for in 2026. Want to keep your eye on.
Okay.
Yeah, one more. Okay. Time for Dracula. Time is going to be on the 9999. Time. And that is Circle of the Moon. Nuclear completion.
That is one of the best time calls, just on the 999 and dead. Well, thank you so much for showcasing that as we go through whatever cutscene credit thing is happening and we're mashing through. If you want to give out any shout outs, tell the people where they can find you for your Twitch, your Discord, anything like that, now is the time.
Oh yeah, I'm always streaming Castlevania on Twitch. If you like the run, I do this game and pretty much every Castlevania game on twitch.tv/JupiterClimb. And thank you very much for having me on this anniversary episode. It was great to be here. Really cool to be a part of it.
Absolutely. As people may or may not remember, you were on our very first episode, and you were here a couple of weeks ago. And you have now officially tied Illegally Sam as our most decorated guest, with 3 appearances each. But do yourself a favor, chat. Anyone who is interested, not just in Castlevanias, although you do cover pretty much all of them. You are by far my Castlevania goat. But Metroidvanias in general, you play a lot of Super Metroid and other Metroid games and randomizers and all kinds of fun stuff. And you stream quite a lot. So anyone who is interested in these types of games, this show, I don't say this for everyone. Please, please, please go follow Jupiter Climb. Check out their stream. I lurk there pretty much every day or every 2 days. So definitely check him out. You will not regret it. That does bring us, however, to the end of our 1-year celebration. Thank you all so much for joining us. We have had an incredibly active chat, a lot of viewers. You guys are killing it. And I did promise some shout outs at the end. We do have a little bit of time. So I just want to say, first off, to everyone who stops by every show, or even just occasionally on some of the shows, we do appreciate you so much. They would not let me do this show without all of you. And then, of course, to all of our runners, our commentators, everyone who is part of the community that lends all of their amazing skills to us. And last but not least, there are so many people behind the scenes every week that you do not necessarily see. So, for example, tech checkers, betters, of course, production, my amazing partner, Ray. And then last but not least, management for even just letting me do this. I still don't know how or why. Well, I know why, but I don't know how I wandered in off the street and they let me do this. So I appreciate all of you so very much. This is hopefully, we made a wish at the beginning. I can't tell you what mine is, but you can probably guess. This is hopefully one of many, many more shows that we'll be doing here at Perilous Paths. But wherever you are, whenever you are, thank you so much for joining. But don't go anywhere. We still have a whole nother show coming up with Scenic Route with Osmorn. So stay tuned for that. Don't go anywhere. We will be, well, I won't be back, but the show will be back. Not the show, a different show. Hotfix will be back in just a few minutes. Don't go anywhere. Thank you so much.